back again for a third stream this week. Go me, right? Alright, so as you can see up here on the screen tonight, we are reacting to this new video that came out one day ago called Has Feminism Destroyed the West? Featuring Myron Gaines, Timpf, never seen her before. Alex Stein is here, Tim Pool, obviously, as you can see, and NotSoEurodite. So, yeah, basically just another feminism debate. This is another topic that I have recently gotten pretty bored of talking about, because it's just the same shit over and over and over again. But I figured since this came out yesterday and I haven't talked about it for a while, we might as well. And I have not pre-watched this at all, so this is going to be a totally genuine reaction, so it should be interesting. And let's just get right into it. Oh wait, actually, before we do that, I did put out a video yesterday. If you watched my stream that I did covering the Destiny and Misfit Patriot debate, probably don't have to watch it because I took it from that stream. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, go watch that because it's not getting any views on my channel. So anyways, here we go.
We got an important question for everybody. Has feminism destroyed the West? Oh, everybody's saying yes. This is the question that must be answered today. We have this amazing panel. Why don't we start from the right? Introduce yourself, good sir.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, Myron Gaines.
Are you not?
I didn't know someone else was coming, but yeah, Myron Gaines, chilling.
Who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, one half of the Fresh Fit podcast. Also do my own show called The Debrief, where we make fun of women, Jews, and black people. So it's great.
I told you.
Yeah.
I asked Kyla before the show started, how long until we heard the word Jews?
Right away.
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
And Myron and I will both be going to Israel to touch the wall after this podcast. So,
Well, they're going to kill me.
yeah, so thank you guys. I'm Primetime Alex Stein, Pimp on a Blimp, and I believe in amnesty for all big booty Latinas. Who agrees? Yes.
Tell you.
You. Me.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. My name's NotSoEurodite. I'm the dirty liberal on the panel today, so you guys will love me.
Ooh, I like that.
My name is Timpf, and I am the co-host of Gottfeld. Yes, I have a job, and I'm also a mother.
Yeah.
Oh, man, so of course, I'm your host, Tim Pool, along with
Why are
co-host
they
Alex
zooming
Stein.
in on her?
Let's go.
Let's ask this question right off the bat. It's a heavy question.
Good
Has
evening.
feminism
Welcome.
destroyed the West? I mean, one could argue if they're holding the opinion it is destroying, but really destroyed, past tense? What do you think, Myron?
Well, it depends on in which way you want to go. If you want to talk about destroying the family, the dating marketplace, the way women view men in general, there's so many different problems that have come from feminism, and it's a multi-pronged issue depending on whichever section
All
you
right,
want to
name
go.
one.
I mean, we could
Blame the women, right?
start with dating, right? So these bitches are too entitled, if I'm going to be honest. You know, their expectations are...
And men aren't entitled. Look, I'm not gonna lie, of course there's entitled women, but there are plenty, actually an unlimited amount of entitled men out there, and it's actually disturbing. But I'm not like a man hater. I also hate women. I just don't like most people. There are plenty of crazy, ridiculous, entitled princesses out there as well. But this is not just a woman problem, this is a people problem, which is what I think a lot of these conversations always come down to. This isn't just a feminine thing, this is a person thing. And for whatever reason, whatever is causing it, I don't know, but it can't be feminism if men are acting the same way.
are far too high for what they bring to the table. They're fairly delusional thanks to, social media, dating apps, etc., where, simps are blowing smoke up their ass all the time. And what's happened is women have a very unrealistic standard on what they think.
Sorry, I have to pause again already. When he says simps are blowing smoke up their ass all the time, what he means is there's just a bunch of guys trying to fuck us. Woo, what a privilege. I know that men think it's a privilege to have a bunch of women that want to just fuck you, who don't care about you, but women don't see it that way. It's not a privilege to have a bunch of guys just want to sleep with us and never talk to us again. That's not a privilege we have in society. Women can use it to their advantage, sure, but if you don't want to do that, then that's not an option. That's awful, right?
Think they deserve versus what's out there. And if they do find that guy, they think that guy should kind of bend to their women. The reality is it doesn't work that way.
Wait, actually, one thing I want to give a little pushback, though, Myron, and you do talk about this a lot. We talk about the 304s, the hoes.
Yes.
So if these girls are being extra picky, kind of like you're saying, then why are they also hoes at the same time?
Good question.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because a lot of them are hoes.
So when I say that they're hoes, what I mean is they have promiscuous type behavior. I mean, they're still, having sex with a smaller portion of the men, but they're still getting a high body count because there's a lot of these guys. So what ends up happening is a lot of girls end up being Eskimo sisters with a lot of other women because they're all smashing the same, minority of men. And this gets, especially in major cities, like in Miami, for example, right? The girls that are going out and doing things and whatever, they're hooking up with the same small percentage of guys all the time.
I never
That's what I
thought
mean.
about that.
Right?
The same small percentage of guys who are also going out and clubbing and doing things. The people who get laid are the people who are actively trying to get laid in a very social way. Not so much like on Tinder, but if you're going out to bars and clubs regularly, you're going to get laid more than a guy who just sits at home on the computer or just works every day and isn't socializing. That's just a reality. Of course, money helps, right? There's always going to be that super small percentage of high class people who get more pussy, whatever, get more women. But there are plenty of regular average guys who have a pretty fluent sex life, who don't have a lot of money and who aren't super successful, especially at the college age or even in your 20s, throughout your 20s.
Right. I mean, obviously that's a hyper, analyzed portion of it, but in general,
Well, as the women, do women have too high of expectations for men, and are they hoes?
If they are, who cares? I would say no. I would say I enjoy being a member of society. I like being able to vote. I like being able to have a bank account. And it's so crazy that I'm also a mother at the same time with a husband who loves me and is able to handle the fact that I'm my own person.
Well, I think Kat makes actually a good point, though, Myron. Is it that bad if a girl has a job and a college education? A driven woman, let's say she's driven to do more than just be a mom. Why is that demonized, I guess, in your opinion?
Well, look, I don't have a problem with women, aspiring to go to school and everything else like that. My thing is I think we just need to be honest with them. If you're going to go ahead and pursue a career and higher education, your chances of finding a man are going to drop off precipitously because your standards go up as you increase your income, your status. Because women are hypergamous. They're not like us. When we get status and money, our standards stay fairly the same, or we just want a hotter girl. But when women increase their status, they want a guy on their level financially, mentally, etc.
So therefore, you're telling women to not pursue a career, not pursue college, so that she has a bigger portion of guys who are also losers. Not saying that not going to college makes you a loser, but who just also aren't very ambitious. I don't understand that point. I think it's totally fair to want somebody on your own level, and the majority of people are average. The majority of women who are going to school and following careers are also average people. They're not super high earning CEOs. That is not the majority of people who go to school. They just have an average life like everybody else. Base feminist Alex Stein. I know, right? I was just about to say that. I was like, is Alex Stein like a weird feminist now? Like, I don't know. We'll see.
We just need to be honest with women. Is the more successful you become, the likelihood of you finding a guy drop off.
There's a really
That
funny...
was not the case for me. I'm actually more successful than you are, Myron.
Oh, wow. Shots fired. Well, to be fair,
And I have a baby. Do you have a baby?
You know what's funny to me? I looked around. I didn't see a stove, so I don't know why this woman's here and not talking.
Yeah.
Like, I thought we were.
I don't make dinner. I make money.
This is not a kitchen. This is not a kitchen somehow. Some woman is talking. I don't know. This isn't a kitchen, but she's talking.
I got an important point for you, Myron.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All that matters in the end is in
Kitchen
20, 30
jokes.
years, she's already got a genetic leg up with having a kid. If you don't have a kid, your line ends. Where's your kid at?
Oh well, I'll have one eventually. I'm just gonna try. I'm trying
Where's
to pick
your
out my
kid
four
at,
wives first.
Timpf?
You know what I mean? So I'm picking them
There's
out.
another woman here, though. You know, I don't know, Kat. Do you consider yourself conservative or liberal or?
I mean, I consider myself my own person. I'm independent.
All right. Well, the self-avowed liberal. What say you?
What say I? I say, the two questions, are women's standards increasing? Yeah, I would say by and large women's standards are increasing as they get access to work and education. The issue is that they're not really staying single. Most of the Pew research shows that women are dating and dating successfully.
Yeah.
The real question that I think is actually at the heart of all of this is are people happy? Are people finding meaningful relationships? And in what ways is society hampering and harming them or benefiting them? I think those are the important questions.
Yeah, don't you- I feel
They're
like
not in
lonely-
relationships.
Yeah,
It's
isn't loneliness
fucked.
up? Isn't loneliness up, Tim? And
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I think
dating
it would
is
be up.
down, loneliness is up. There was that graph that went viral that people are basically becoming neats, men and women. They're less conscientious. They're more neurotic. They're less agreeable. They're isolating themselves. I don't know if that's a product of feminism, but what I can say is right now the current system is not conducive to happy relationships between either men and women.
I actually agree. I think that the way that our society has oriented itself, where it's obsession over money and working and the betrayal of family and connection relationship, is harming everyone. I don't think that this is.
Yeah, I don't think, even if we were to say that there's data that shows that relationships are at some kind of low point of unsuccessfulness or unhappiness or something, I don't know. I wouldn't blame that on feminism. I think feminism helps relationships because before feminism, were the majority of relationships really relationships, or were they actually more like a business contract, right? You weren't actually finding a life partner. You weren't finding, I mean, some people I'm sure did, of course, find true bonds and stuff. But for a lot of people, it was more like an arrangement that you made work. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they were happy, but divorce was so stigmatized. And also, lots of women just didn't have the option to get a divorce. So I don't know if I would count that as a more successful relationship. You know what I mean? So I don't know if we could blame this on technology, the internet, just culture today. But I don't know, I just turned 30 last week, and the majority of my friends are married or in relationships, and some have children. And these are people who I never thought would get married before me, honestly. I'm in a long-term relationship. The people my age that I know, most of them, and other people I meet my age are mostly in relationships. And even throughout my 20s, most of my friends went through long-term relationships. There were a couple people who didn't, but I just don't know how true this is. This is anecdotal, so take it for what you will, but I think it also helps, I live in an urban area, so I'm able to meet a lot of people, get out, do a lot of things. So I think in some of these smaller towns, it is probably harder to find relationships. But would that have been any different before? You know what I mean? You would have just had to make something work, whereas now we kind of have a choice.
as a unique like woman problem or man problem. When we're talking about like the loneliness epidemic, it's mostly a male skewed issue, right? Like men, in the Pew Research, men between the ages of like 18 to 25, 1% of them, I think, hadn't even dated before, whereas I think it was only like 30% of young women.
Doesn't that prove Myron's point?
Sort of. I mean,
These women are dating, but the men are not. That means the women are dating all the same guys.
well, no, they're not. Like most of these women are in monogamous relationships, right? The issue is
Well,
actually
so-
the
so-
20-year-olds are dating like men that are typically like 4 to 5 years older than them. That's actually more so what we're seeing.
So let's just break it down for me, my misunderstanding then, because it sounds like I might be misunderstanding. What was the number? Most women have found relationships?
30% of women have dated between the ages of 18 and 25, whereas
And then-
61% of men have not dated.
Right, okay, so that's the same number, isn't it?
Sorry, I'm not understanding.
That
what you're
means
saying.
30% of men have dated and 30% of women have dated.
No, 61% of men between the ages of 18 to 25 have not had a relationship.
So that
before.
means 30 of them have dated then.
So that means 30% of men have had a relationship.
Sorry, did I mess up? Did I misspeak?
You're saying both. 30% of women
Have not dated.
Have not dated.
Okay, have not dated.
60%
Sorry,
have
yeah.
not
Okay,
dated.
so
Yeah,
that,
we get it. Sorry.
so if it's 2 to 1 men not dating but women are dating, then the women would have to be dating.
Well,
the
between
same
that
guys.
age, well,
Right.
no, that's the age bracket. 18 to 25 is one of the key things.
Right,
here
right,
that's
okay,
going
so-
on.
but the
So
point
women
is-
are dating older men.
Oh, I see.
That's what's making up the
Yes.
gap.
I think Myron agrees with that, right?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, average women don't want average men. They date up. And now with, the way we have society, hypergamy is not only reinforced, but it's encouraged. Women are told to not settle. They're told to get the best man that they can get. So a lot of girls think that they qualify for something a lot of times, which they actually don't. And sometimes they have to be.
And this happens with men too. I can't tell you how many times I have seen guys like turn down very pretty girls, and these guys were like extremely overweight, didn't really have anything going for them, but yet he couldn't go to prom with her because she wasn't like a perfect 10. And this is in a lot of guys' heads. So especially like younger guys, maybe not a lot, but enough to where it's a problem, or where it's often enough. So maybe the problem is with younger guys and how culture is affecting them or teaching them or something. I'm not sure about this. It's just a thought. But I don't know. Again, like in my experience, most of the people I've been with, like all my friends and stuff, have always dated people our age. Maybe like a year or two older. I don't know. I knew one girl who dated like a guy who was 30 when she was like 20. But besides that, I don't really. No, I've known a few girls who have dated up, like older guys for sure. But is this because like younger guys are insecure? Maybe they're like not sure how to date. We're always like, Myron is always blaming and putting these issues on the women. And I just don't think that's an accurate perspective.
Be the reality and let them know, like, look, you're average. You got to be,
Plus, he
a
would
little bit
never
more
tell
realistic
men to
about where you
settle.
stand.
This
Right.
isn't really
But average
hypergamy,
women
though.
don't want average men.
This isn't really hypergamy, though, right? Like, what are men typically selecting for in a relationship? Youthfulness, beauty, right? Some level of like making him feel good. What are women selecting for? Stability factors. And so in this way, women are dating the pool of men that give them the stability factors, because it usually takes men a couple of years to get education and a career and like something built underneath them. And men are selecting for the things that they want.
Well, it's
which
not
is
just
young
stability
and
anymore,
beauty.
is what I'm trying to say. It's not just stability.
do you
It's
mean?
also, is the guy handsome? Is he tall? Is he charming? Is he charismatic? Like, since women make their own money, they're able to be a bit more selective, because they don't just need the provisioning anymore. They want other things as well. Is he handsome? How does he look? Etc. So women do have a staked interest now in how a man looks and how he conveys himself as well, since they handle the provisioning part themselves. So it's made women more selective, but that's kind of come at their dismay, because now it's harder to find that guy. There's the total package with everything.
Sure. The issue is that like the actual problem here is that we're leaving men behind. The issue isn't that we're like raising women up. It's that men are disproportionately being like undereducated in school. Primary school is horrible for young boys. We're not giving them social scripts on how to exist. And we're still telling young men that their only value is the amount that they can contribute to the GDP, when in the reality is that like what women are looking for is men that like make them feel valuable, men that they can emotionally connect to. And so like the real issue here isn't that we're raising women up, it's that we're leaving men behind. which I'm actually very interested in.
Well, I want to make this one point though. I think men are a victim of what their surroundings, because the amount of men that have microplastics in their testicles now. Seriously, now. The amount of estrogen
You're getting some right now.
Exactly. So I'm saying, don't we think men now have higher estrogen levels than ever in recorded history?
Yeah.
So I feel like that is kind of why the men are, I guess, coming in
I'm
second
just
place.
curious how long throughout history we've recorded men's estrogen levels. Even though I'm sure that, to be fair, he's probably correct, because the more active you are, I'm pretty sure your testosterone is probably higher, and then there is also like less of these processed foods and stuff. So I'm sure like men back in the day probably did have higher testosterone levels, but I don't know. Maybe that's a valid point.
We talk about
Well, there's
It's a
multitude of
problem for
problems.
everyone. I'm only 36 and I've already had cancer.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It's a serious thing. I know, it's serious.
Yeah,
Some
there's
environmental
problems.
shit going on.
And who's in good shape, Kat? Like, you've never been fat or gross?
No,
I'm
not
saying
to
you
brag, but I've never been fat. Yeah.
I mean, that does have like they say, the fatter you are, the more likely you are to get cancer. So I'm just saying, there's a lot of toxins in our water, in our food, that are making men, less masculine and less aggressive.
I want to. Maybe I'm just jumping the gun, but I was just thinking about if we want to go into dating stuff, I think maybe we'll come back to it. But and the question of feminism, the one thing that I really pisses me off, women won the right to vote without civic responsibility, and so
They shouldn't have the right to vote.
You can make the argument.
Repeal the
I think it's
19th.
fine. I think it's fine to say women should have the right to vote. However, we got to look at the context in the United States, and that's women do not have an obligation to die in war that men do, but women can vote overwhelmingly for Democrats promoting these wars, and then men are left on the hook for a war.
Democrats are the ones promoting the wars? Okay, you cannot tell me that in 2001, the Democrats were the ones voting for the Iraq war and the Afghanistan war. You cannot tell me that, okay? I actually did a project on this, and I had to interview family members and family friends about whether they supported the Iraq war, and guess what? All the Republicans said, hell yeah, bomb the shit out of them. And all the Democrats were like, no, let's not do that. Just because liberals now support Ukraine, and I'm pretty sure most liberals don't even support sending our troops to Ukraine. We just support monetary help and sending them weapons as help. So you cannot just all of a sudden say that Democrats are the ones that are supporting these wars and take away the past 100 years of Republicans funding wars or supporting wars. I mean, I would even say the Civil War was kind of started by Republicans. Maybe. I don't know. Can you make that argument? I feel like I know the classes or the party switched, but modern day Republicans would have been Democrats back then or whatever. But you know what I mean. So I'm just saying, you cannot all of a sudden say that Republicans are the anti-war party and take back the past at least 50 decades. That's not fair.
Or they tend not to vote for. That's fucked up.
So, sure, the issue
I'm glad
is,
we're on this topic. Repeal the 19th.
Simple,
I was going to
the
say
big
that earlier
war
when she was
guy,
yapping, but that's
too.
fine. Yeah, repeal the 19th.
I think only landowners should vote. Let's go back to pre-Civil War. Try to vote now, Myron.
I think
women shouldn't be able to vote.
I think we have two issues here, right? Number one, the vote has never actually been tied to military service. It's typically citizenship and age, are usually kind of the two main things that we've always used for voting. I would be totally fine with us having an amendment where we add women to selective service. I have no issue with that whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
I think equal strokes. The issue is that when it comes to voting, there are going to be topics that uniquely affect men and uniquely affect women. In this case,
See, and women can never win this conversation because there are plenty of women who will be like, sure, you can add us to selective service, because let's be honest, most military roles are not active combat roles anymore, especially in the American military. But even so, let's say, okay, women say, sure, yeah, add us to selective service. And then these same guys who are crying about this go and say, well, women shouldn't be allowed in the military. Women should be allowed to be firefighters. Women shouldn't be allowed to be police officers. So it's we can't win either way.
war does uniquely affect men.
So,
right?
so sorry, just to complete that thought. So it's like, why do you give a fuck anyways? If you don't want women to be soldiers, then stop crying about women not being forced into selective service. Like, you can't have it both ways.
Now, which might be unfair, but in the case of something like abortion and birthright control and all these sort of things, these disproportionately affect women, right? And so when we're talking about like who gets the right to vote, is it because of like certain topics uniquely affect one gender over another? That's not how we've ever tied the right to vote. It could be landowners, it could be multiple things. In America, though, we seem to mostly decide age and citizenship.
But the problem I have is that Democrats have been substantially more likely to vote for war, to promote war, particularly in
such
Ukraine.
bullshit.
Republicans have been pressuring Trump not to be involved. His base split over the Iran issue. Millennial women are about 70% voting Democrat. So you have this phenomenon in the millennial to Gen Z younger generation where women are disproportionately voting for a war they have no responsibility in, or I should say a limited responsibility in. And it's crazy to me that half the population can vote and the other half to die, and that's equality.
So I'm a millennial.
First of all, I just want to say, even if there was a draft, of course, it wouldn't affect women equally, but it would still affect women very much. Women don't want to lose their husbands. They don't want to lose their sons. They don't want to lose their brothers. They don't want to lose their fathers. It's not like some willy-nilly decision. You know what I mean? And second of all, liberals are not voting to send our own U.S. troops to Ukraine, right? We just support aiding Ukraine.
Woman, and I am married to a veteran, and both of us are very anti-war. He is anti-war as somebody who went over there. I think that to pin the power of the military-industrial complex, which is a very powerful force, on women being able to vote is wild. But I also understand
that's a mischaracterization of what I said.
I think I was talking more about what Myron said than what you said. I understand also that this is like Myron's whole thing, but so you have to say like women can't vote, and then you get attention, and you also kind of act like you invented misogyny, which you didn't. Like, it's been around for a very long time. These are not hot takes. These are like very old, archaic
But he is in the top 10, right?
Because he goes really hard and he gets a lot of attention for it, and then there are these men, sadly, who listen to you, who I think are lonely. And I love men. I'm not like a man-hating woman. I love men. And I think that a lot of men have been left behind in a lot of ways, and I understand that.
Yep.
But I don't think that blaming all of your problems, if you do blame all your problems on women, then that could be the reason.
If you find yourself blaming all your problems on women and Jewish people, you might have a problem. You might want to look introspectively. Just a suggestion for anybody out there.
Why you don't have one.
There's another group of people that Myron blames his problems on, and it's not women.
Well, I want to
true.
let Myron respond, but I guess I want to pose this question. What is the bigger threat, feminism or misogyny? What's worse for society?
So when I say feminism, I feel like things like I have the right to vote. I have a job. I'm a participating member of society, which is different than...
It's also about like equal respect in society, right? Because a lot of these things are taken care of, and then you hear the argument, oh, well, what is feminism even needed for today? It's mostly needed in social matters. People still, many men still, and even women, still look at women as inferior. And of course, yes, we're weaker, we can't run as fast, blah, 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 blah. But lots of times they don't take us as serious. They don't listen to us. They don't want to. They feel like they don't have to. They might feel embarrassed even. So this is what women are still fighting for. We're fighting for respect and social equality.
Hating men. So it kind of depends how you
well, do you hate women, Myron? I'm not just more curious.
Sometimes. Actually, no, I'm just kidding. Look, the reality is that when it comes to feminism,
He's literally not kidding. He literally talks about that he doesn't even want to live with women. He wants to live with his boys. Like, what? why? That's so fucking weird. I don't know, like, I don't want to make the gay jokes, but that's seriously how it fucking comes off. If you, like, seriously hate women that much, honestly, these people complain about feminism. They think feminism is about men hating, and that is, like, what radical feminism, a lot of it is. But this is what Myron is doing, just in the opposite way. This red pill manosphere extreme movement is just feminism for men. Radical feminism for men. It's really cringy.
Women are stupid. Let's be honest about this. And the reason why, right? It's not just, and she said it herself, misogyny isn't something new. She's right. In ancient China, to the Middle East, to Eastern Europe, everybody knew that women are so we need to make them second-class citizens. So that's why they didn't have the right to vote and do a lot of stuff. And then now
what an eloquent argument. I never could have come up with something that intelligent.
She's acting like
as
woman
a
right now.
stupid
Holy
woman.
crap. I let her speak and now she won't let me speak. So it's interesting to me how she said, oh yeah, this isn't something new. Yeah, you're right. Everyone since ancient times knew that women we need to make them second-class citizens. And here's the craziest part. They lived in other ends of the world. And they still realize the Asian dudes, ling bing ding, all the way to the fucking Mohammeds in the Middle East, to the Eastern Europeans of Slav, they all knew, damn, women are stupid. We need to go ahead and put them in the kitchen. Now they're out the kitchen, and what's going on? Society is crumbling.
Which civilization of all the ones that you listed do you like the most? Do you like modern America, or do you like Saudi Arabia, or do you like, ancient Japan? Which one do you like the most?
Well, look, I like any society that has women under control, and right now we don't, which is why shit is fucked up.
So why don't you move to Saudi Arabia? They don't have the right to vote. They can barely drive. Like what?
It's a great place.
Do you want Sharia law? No,
that's
Myron.
true. They can drive now. They can drive.
They can drive, and that's bad.
Wait, are you? But be
so
honest.
You think that Saudi Arabia is a better country than America?
When it comes to handling women, yes. Yes, when it comes to handling
just overall,
women, yes.
don't change the question.
And
don't run away
crime
from
is
it.
less in Saudi
Do you
Arabia,
think?
though.
Well, they have less crime.
You were talking about these global things about how when women are oppressed, that's been the societal trend.
They have less crime because they literally murder people for stealing. I don't know. I don't know if that's true in like Saudi Arabia, but I'm pretty sure in like Sharia law they do that shit. So sure, if you want to say that like capital punishment for stealing like some bread, if you don't consider that a crime, then sure, they have less crime.
And so I asked you, modern America decided, along with a whole bunch of Western democracies, and I think you like Western civilization, that's a bad idea. And so the question is, why is America so great if Saudi Arabia's got this one thing so well to, like what? Shouldn't that be the great country?
Well, you could be better in different ways, right? Like
so Muslim theocracy's got it.
No, I didn't say that.
Oh.
What I'm saying is, here's the problem, right? When you have women having too much power, it creates a lot of issues because women are communitarian by nature, right? They don't know what the fuck they want to do. They can't even decide what they want to eat, let alone pick their own partners. That's why the divorce rates are through the fucking
Wait,
roof.
time out.
That's
You
why
guys
marriage
admit
is
it's
down in
hard
the
for women to
dumpster.
choose what to eat, though, Kat. Is that true? Can we at least agree on that?
Yes, but it also could be all this nicotine gum I'm always chewing.
Okay,
I'm never that hungry.
that is typically my girlfriend. It is hard for women to choose where to eat. I think you're 100% right about that.
Sure, but we also are like negating the fact that like some of the biggest breakthroughs in ecology science come from the humanitarian approach that women have. DNA was discovered by women. So like the issue is that women are decently valuable. When we talk about women being stupid, men are stupid all the time too. Men are the like morons that are ending up in fucking jail all the time because they can't like stop
Wait,
punching shit.
you made a good point. I think. Wait.
Is Frederick Meischer a woman? DNA was first identified by Swiss chemist Friedrich Meischer.
Yeah, they were trying to take credit
stole
for
it
our stuff.
from?
They also said they were trying.
Women always try to take credit for men's stuff. That's hilarious. No, so hold on. There is especially back in the day, lots of times there were like students, some female students who would make discoveries, and this happened with men too, and then their professors would take credit for that. Okay, so here we have, this is an AI overview, but hold on. Rosalind Franklin, a British scientist, made significant contributions to the discovery of DNA DNA structure, particularly through her work in X-ray crystallography. While her research was crucial, the credit for discovery of DNA's double helix is often attributed to James Watson and Francis Crick, who built upon her findings. So interesting. Rosalind Franklin was noted as the chemist who actually discovered DNA. Oh wait, this is in an episode of... Forget that. The First Lady of DNA. The story of Rosalind Franklin never ceases to fascinate. Blah, blah, blah. The forgotten woman who helped discover DNA. Okay, so yeah, there's that.
I gotta say Wi-Fi was made by women. No, it wasn't. It was made by men as well. Women don't invent anything. They don't.
Okay, Heidi Lamar, I think her name was. She didn't invent Wi-Fi. First of all, it was Bluetooth, but she didn't invent Bluetooth. She invented frequency hopping for missiles. There's another word for them. Not torpedoes. She invented frequency hopping for torpedoes for World War II, which led to the discovery, or which led to the eventual invention of Bluetooth. That was Heidi Lamar, I think her name is. It wasn't Bluetooth, right? We didn't have Bluetooth in World War II. She invented frequency hopping for torpedoes.
Contribute to anything besides, like, to be honest, the only real value women have is reproductive
I contribute
value.
more to
We're
the
gonna be honest.
economy than you do.
Kevlar was also invented by a woman. There is a bunch of like little sillier things like windshield wipers, paper bag. A paper bag was invented by a woman. I'm pretty sure some of the first security cameras or security, one of the first security camera or security doorbell systems was invented by a woman. There's like a whole bunch of lists, and there's also like a lot of scientific discoveries that were done by women. Actually, there was a lot of women who worked for NASA too, not even just the 3 women that most people know about who helped with the math to get to the moon, but there were tons of women who invented like iodine fuel or something like that. I don't know, but so, like some kind of fuel and like cooling systems for some of the first rockets. Lots of this stuff.
Myron, just objectively.
Wait, I want to say I'm on Kat and NotSoEurodite's side though. That don't you think women are equally valuable to society though? You don't think so?
Dude, if you remove sex and reproduction, they provide almost nothing.
Yeah, but those are
We're gonna
we
be
wouldn't
honest.
have life without those things.
Yeah, sure.
So don't
Well, sure. But I want to be clear about this. We don't need them. Like, here's the thing: women need us. We don't need them. We need them to propagate
They have our
society for the
babies,
next
dude.
generation.
Yeah.
That's what I'm.
We need men to help protect us from other men. I truly believe that women would have been able to, but like outside of reproduction, women would have been able to end up maintaining and building a society. It might look different, especially because of our size and stuff, but yeah. But like this is just a stupid argument because I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like we need each other.
My point. I said outside of reproduction. So, like, if we want to have kids, yes, we need them, but they need us for everything. So the reality is, men bring far more value to society than women do. The only real value they provide is reproductive
it's not
value.
like
'Cause let's
women
be honest
can't
here,
hunt,
you guys don't give a
can't
fuck about what they
fish.
got to say. You guys are here for us. Nobody
They
cares
can't
about what
build
women got to
things.
say. They're the suckiest podcasters.
Especially with
Female
machinery.
YouTubers suck. Nobody gives a fuck about their opinion. We're just there for the tits.
Isn't
Let's
like
be
the
honest.
one of some of the largest podcasts? Candace Owens, Call Her Daddy. Like some of the largest podcasts are
And
female run.
to be fair,
Candace Owens is an
hold on.
exception.
It
Hold
doesn't.
on.
Matter if you don't like them. The point is that they're highly successful. So maybe you guys don't like to listen to women, but that doesn't mean that broader society doesn't. For example, take women out of the workforce. You've nuked your economy overnight. It's done. They contribute, even if we're being mild and conservative, 30%.
Even if you want to like narrow down like women jobs and you want to say women jobs are nurses and teachers, like sure, men can do those jobs too, but I feel like a female touch is pretty nice to have in these jobs. Like a feminine touch is just nice to have in more female coded jobs. I just hate this argument altogether, like men versus women. I just think we complement each other. I think men do amazing things that I can't do, that I appreciate. I think women do amazing things that men can't necessarily do, that men should appreciate. And honestly, what I really think it comes down more is individual based. I can do something that another woman can't do, that another man can't do. A man can do something that another man can't do, that another woman can't do. It's more an individual thing than a man versus woman thing. I really just like hate this whole idea. Like, and okay, so this is another thought too. Like, they say, oh, we need men for police officers and firefighters and stuff. Well, if there were no men and only women existed, we actually wouldn't need it. We would be fine with other female police officers and firefighters because we're all around the same size, right? So I don't know. It's just kind of funny. Like, if there weren't any men, actually all the problems that men say women would struggle because we're too weak or too small would go away. It would be eliminated because we would all be on an equal playing field.
Well, that'd
Probably
be good.
around 50%.
That'd be good for the airline pilot industry, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that save us a lot?
I don't know. It seems like there's a lot more going on with the airline pilot industry than just women.
But women are usually taking social jobs like teachers and nurses and stuff like
Yeah,
this.
we need those jobs.
We do, but we need petroleum engineers more.
I would disagree.
More?
We need to raise our children.
No, teachers are so fucking important. Like, we need all of these things. This is what I mean. It's just so stupid to be like, which one's more important? Which one's more valuable? Like, I had this ex-boyfriend who was a machinist, and he used to just brag about how his job was the most important job, and no other jobs matter besides his. And I'm like, your job wouldn't exist without the rest of society. Like, it all works together, intertwined. It's just such a stupid, like, argument to be like, which one's more important? Which one matters more? It's a society. It all works together.
I would like literate
Abolish
children.
Public schools.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
Public schools are shit.
But we should still be teaching our kids. We want our kids to be literate.
I agree. And I think
we need nurses,
women are great teachers. when it
right? Like
comes to
every
basic
one of
knowledge
you
stuff.
has been to a hospital, and you're probably super grateful that there's an entire help industry oriented at making sure that your ass doesn't die. Especially a lot of your fat asses don't die.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can feel the tension.
I was just gonna say.
Guys, wait. Real quick, though, I do want to say thank you guys for being here. Give yourselves a round of applause, seriously. And this is our third time doing it here. And I have to say that last week was a little tense with Michael Malice, but you can feel the tension up here. I kind of like this debate, and we want to encourage you guys to all come up, whatever you guys, whether you have a question or a debate topic, it's no holds barred. Just say whatever you want to say. And we're going to do that here in a second. But Tim, I mean, I'm liking this, the energy up here. It's a little different this week.
There's an interesting split between the civics of it and the dating element of it. So you were saying that.
And the morality.
Sure. What's the morality argument?
I think that, like, feminism is morally good.
What does that mean?
I think.
What does morally good mean?
In like a Christian Aristotelian kind of
Well,
way.
that's
Like
my question.
Western, all of our like Western systems absolutely value
well,
things
let me
like
ask this question.
agency.
Real quick, just define feminism.
Sure, feminism is, here, I always write it down so I can always cite it. Feminism, the empowerment of women's agency and the promotion of femininity.
What is femininity?
Femininity would be like the
Being
emergent
pretty.
things that we see. Nurturance, typically like empathy and kindness, all the things that we typically see in a Western society that would go, yeah, that's feminine by and large. Understanding, these sorts of things.
Things that identify as feminine as femininity?
Typically, yeah,
Basically. I don't
yeah,
know what
but
that
like
means.
what's
I agree with that
masculine?
description.
Wait, what's
Hot take.
masculinity? The things that we
Hot
kind of
take. I don't
identify
think
with
women have
men.
empathy.
Bears,
Oh,
drinking
wow.
big
I don't think-
beers.
Well, it's like things like bravery
Chopping
and
lumber.
strength, right? It's things like being like protective, right? These are the things that we like see in all of our stories as masculine or feminine.
Were you guys going to get your chance? Everybody shut the fuck up.
Is femininity then related to like nurturing,
Yeah,
having babies?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's good.
So childish.
Hot take. I think women actually lack empathy. Contrary to them saying that they have empathy, I think women have sympathy. They can feel sorry and compassion for sure. But when it comes to empathy, especially to the masculine experience, they don't have it at all. I would argue most women don't know what men want. They don't know what men are interested in. They don't know what it takes to keep a man around, which is why most girls can't even stay in a relationship long term or
Sounds
get
like
married.
projection.
And
It's actually fucking hilarious because there's like tropes throughout history that we see in relationships, and a lot of the times, and like we still do this in modern day too, lots of times, especially historically, women would have to go out of their way to either like play stupid or make the man feel more needed, make him feel like a man, right? She had to actively make him feel like she needed him to save her, to help her, and she would do this on purpose to feed his ego. This is like a trope that you hear, like, I don't know, I've read this like in books a couple times, like mothers telling their daughters, like, this is what you have to do to make men feel like a man. So to say that like women don't understand these things is kind of funny, especially because I don't know, it just seems like this little secret that women all kind of know, and we kind of like laugh about, like, not like we're laughing at them, but because we love them. We're doing it because we love them and we want to make them feel good and happy about themselves. But it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but this is a trope that women just have done throughout history for men to make them like feel good about themselves, make them feel like a man, like he did something really good for me and like made me feel good. Like, men love doing that stuff. I love doing that stuff for people. I love helping people and feeling needed. I think everybody feels that way. But women inherently know that like men like value that feeling like more. So like women will purposely ask like a man to help her with something even though she could do it just because it will make him feel good. I don't know how to describe it. Like, I can't think of an example, but yeah, this is something that I've dealt with in my like immature relationships when I was young. This is something I've heard from other women. Yeah, so I just think it's kind of funny he's saying that women don't have empathy, because we clearly understand these things and have been doing this to help men feel better about themselves.
Let's be honest here. The reason why they're not
Because
empathetic
we
is
love
because there's no
them,
need to be
by the way.
empathetic, because men approach them. Since men approach them and they do the courting and they have to do everything up front, especially at the beginning, a lot of women aren't empathetic to the masculine experience because they don't have to be. Versus men, we have to be empathetic to women. Otherwise, we don't get laid.
Yeah, you're
There's a
very
burden of performance
empathetic
on
to
us.
women.
Yeah, otherwise we don't get laid. That is so empathetic, Myron. Wow, thank you.
No, well, here's the thing. I
Dumbass.
understand you guys, which is why I don't respect you. So that's why, because the reality is, if you understand women, there's no way you can respect them as an equal because they're inferior in almost every way.
Well, in what
what
ways?
does that mean in
I
fact?
just
in
don't
what ways?
understand why you would
Yeah,
say
like
that.
in sports.
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean, here's the thing. You can either respect them as an equal, right? Or you don't respect. Like, my thing is, I understand women. So since, therefore, I understand women, I cannot respect you guys as equals because you guys
clearly doesn't.
have a completely different worldview. You guys are inferior in almost everything that matters.
Like in
And,
what? Like what? Name
Yeah,
the
you
things
keep
that
you guys
saying
are
that
weaker,
over, I'm
dumber,
stupid, blah,
smaller,
blah, blah. I'm
like,
bored.
weaker,
like-
dumber,
yeah, literally, like,
less
yeah.
fit, less strong.
well,
but
yeah.
by these
You guys are
standards,
inferior.
your co-host is inferior to you in every way because he's weaker. He doesn't
he's still
exercise
superior
as
to
much.
you.
He's
So
not as strong.
that's my point.
That's not what. Well, the issue is. Well, the
He's still
issue is.
superior to you, though.
Well, the issue is on the thing. Well, actually, not really. I think I'm actually fitter than Fresh. He's stronger than me, but I think I'm literally fitter than him. And also, when it comes to debates, I tend to do better than him in debates. So all the things that you tend to value are the things that he's inferior. The issue is. Hold on, just so it's clear.
Can you open
I
a
don't
pickle
think.
jar?
I don't think that Fresh is inferior because I don't think that only these things matter to the value of a person. When we talk about things like the Western civilization tradition, if you guys actually care about the American project and what this means, we have to get real about the things that are the precepts of what we believe in. This is things like Christian theology and Aristotelian thinking. And in these precepts, everyone assumes that there is going to be a variety of ways in which people are beneficial, but we don't typically give inferior or superior because we recognize, for example, that while Fresh is not as strong as a debater as you, he's so good at networking, he's really personable, he's really good at like connecting people, and you value that. Whereas women are strong at other things. We don't have to be equal.
Like
We
making
just need to be
sandwiches.
valuable.
But isn't there
Like making
isn't there
sandwiches.
like you said
Good one.
Christian?
You know how
you
no
said
one
Christian
laughed?
theology?
Because that's like the oldest joke that's ever been told. Women make sandwiches. You're stupid. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, I'm bored already.
All right. Again, I'm still trying to figure out why she's talking. This is not a kitchen. I don't know what's going on right now.
There it is again.
It's crazy. To
I
me.
think it's great when you talk, though, because a lot of times people say that there's no need for feminism anymore. And then people hear you talk, and you're saying that, you know, women should all be owned by men and all these other things that you say. And people might think differently. Because you're going to be a lot different new audience is going to see you thanks to me being on this panel. You're welcome, by the way.
Who are
Is
you
that what
again?
you-
I don't even know who is this female? I don't even
To be
know.
honest, I've never heard of it.
She's a co-host of the highest rated
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, no one watches.
top-rated
No one
late
watches
night show.
mainstream media anymore anyway, so that's fine.
Would you actually think women should be owned, Myron? She said you believe it.
I mean, it's kind of funny. She's over here, all this blah blah, but she's married, which is a male-led institution, which is interesting to me. So it's like she's buying into it, even though she's trying to sit here and be like, I'm kind of like I'm a feminist, but at the same time I'm married, blah blah blah. It's like pick one, man. You
What do you
serve under a
mean?
man, so it's like I don't even know why she's talking. So
I serve under a man.
yeah, you're married to a guy, which marriage in itself is a male-led institution.
See, not my marriage.
Oh,
Yeah, we're
God.
equal.
So you wear the
partners.
pants in your.
We're equal partners in my marriage. I know that's crazy. But it.
The concept of equality is a lie. It's not true.
What
One
do you
is
mean?
always
What
the
does that
leader. Who's the leader in your relationship? Who's the decision maker? You or him?
Depends on the thing.
This doesn't
Who
make,
is?
this
who's-
doesn't make one
Who's the
person more or
main
less
leader in the
morally
relationship?
valuable.
You or him?
It depends on the thing. We are equal partners. We've been through a shit ton together.
Oh, crap.
A lot of stuff together, especially recently. And I love him very much. He loves me very much. And I would never have a child with somebody who didn't see me as a person. I see a lot of posts on the internet about like the fertility problem and why aren't women having kids? And you look at the comments, and you see why maybe women don't want to have kids with, it ain't the women that are the problem a lot of the times. There's a lot of problems with talking about women, why don't women want to have kids, and not enough talk about why men aren't becoming, in some cases, the kind of partners that women would want to have a child with. I did not meet someone I'd want to have a child with until I met my husband when I was 30
Still
years
trying to
old.
figure out who the leader is here.
But I'm.
Yeah, and like again, I honestly just think this is a shitty person problem. I don't know if it's like it has to be our society is just producing shitty, egotistical, selfish people. Like it's not just women, it's not just men. The majority of people are just kind of assholes or stupid, in my opinion. The majority of people I meet, like I don't know, like there's also a lot of really nice people. I go so back and forth with this because then I'll like go out and meet like lots of really nice, great people too. So it's hard. But like just because it's hard to find the person specifically for you because we are so unique and individual doesn't mean that like all women are shit or all men are shit. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't think gender really has much to do with these topics. Like what's wrong with dating? I don't think it's like masculinity or femininity. I don't know what it is. I'm going to be honest, but it just probably has to do with the way we're raising people or our society functions or media potentially. Movies and stuff. So yeah, I just think it's so many of these arguments are just so stupid.
Nothing gets done by a committee.
Wait,
Because
nothing gets done by a committee.
the way you
I want to
do,
bring it back to.
thankfully.
I want to bring it back to feminism because I
Wanna
think
answer the question.
I think feminism is a key component in relationship breakdown. There was a story several years ago where in New York, women in their 30s could not find men who made as much or more than they did. And it was like a shock to the system. All these writers, these are female writers for various opinion outlets saying, why can't we find good men? And it's, because they weren't attracted to guys who made less and they didn't want to be with younger guys.
Probably because you live in New York. Haven't you ever watched Sex in the City? I'm just kidding.
So the guys who are the same age as them, who made $50,000 a year, were like, I can date a 24-year-old woman, somebody who wants to have a family and is younger. So guys are aiming for younger women, but women are being told to get jobs and have careers. But you mentioned guys aren't stepping up. I think this creates an inverse problem where for young men, they're either struggling to date because younger women can date older guys through dating apps, or women, why buy the cow when you get the milk for free? If you know what I mean.
Like you can have sex without like commitment.
These guys who are young are like,
How many young guys are actually trying to be tied down at fucking 21, 22, or even 24? How many young guys straight out of college are looking for a marriage? How many guys in college or after high school are looking for a marriage? That's just not happening. I don't think that's a problem.
I don't need a job. I don't need status because if I go to
Many aren't even looking for relationships in general.
the club and spend $15 on booze, I get laid.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I just think that like this is like the trade-off of agency, right? Like agency is one of the most important things that we can have, the ability to choose, right? Because if you don't have agency, you can't choose to do noble and good things. You can't choose to do bad things. And so I would agree that like when I look at the modern dating culture, first of all, the 24-year-old girls are not like, I'm so ready to settle down and have kids.
Right.
They're like, these are the people you're calling whores half the time, right? And so
They used to be.
yeah, they
People
used,
used to get married and have kids at 22.
sure, but we also died at 55 around the same time.
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
That is not correct.
yeah.
We did have a lower life
that is,
We
that is
had
not
a
correct.
much shorter life
The
expectancy.
shorter life expectancy was due to the infant mortality rate. People actually who survived infancy would live for a very long time.
No.
But while people
No.
are lived expectancy,
Men were dying in mines.
They're not at 55.
No, men were dying in mines, and women were also
sure,
dying in childbirth.
and while life expectancy has increased by a few years recently,
A lot.
that isn't changing the fact
like
that
decades.
society used to be very different. Women but pre-feminism,
Why? I don't understand this like desire to regress in society. I really fucking don't. I feel like they have this like over like this crazy fantastical idea about how the past used to be. I don't think it was that good. I really don't think it was that good. None of it sounds good to me. Even from a man's perspective, it sounds terrible for men. It sounds terrible for women. I don't know why anybody would want to go back to that. It sounds terrible for children. Like, none of it sounds good, except people were having more babies, I guess. And by more babies, I mean like fucking 11. And basically eating off dirt floors and being dirt poor, like, and working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, 6 to 7 days a week. Like, wow, great.
were focused on families. And the big social deal was who are you going steady with and who you're having a family with. I'm not saying society should be that way. But when that's
And by the way, there have always been prostitutes. There have always been sluts. Look at the 20s. Look at the Prohibition era. Look at any time in history. There have always been whorehouses. There have always been orgies. Look at like Rome and Greek. There's always been a sexualized society, but it was underground. Today, people are just more open about their sexuality and don't give a fuck. And honestly, I think not giving as much of a fuck is better. That's my way of life, but that's me.
it's gone and women start prioritizing what job am I going to have?
Yeah.
You're not going to have families at 22 like we used to anymore. And now we're in a fertility crisis and we've got no young people. Gen Alpha is only 40 million people. It is half the size of the millennials.
Sure. So to this, I would basically say I agree that there has been a lot of cons that have come with giving women agency. I think giving women agency is actually like a deontological good. Letting people choose means that they have the choice to choose the noble things. This is really, really important in Western society specifically. This is the foundation of what we believe in the American project. And so, yes, women back then didn't have as many choices. They couldn't own private property. They basically had to be married to a man to have any access or rights or
They
power.
couldn't have a credit card till the 80s.
Exactly, right? So women had
Better times, less debt.
Women had less agency.
Men hold more debt than women in every single category except for student loans. The only debt category that women have more debt in than men is student loans. Car loans, personal loans, not loans, car debt, personal loan debt, credit card debt, all men hold more debt than women in all other categories except for student loans. So this is another fucking stupid myth that these red pillars repeat all the time.
Women had less agency, but I would argue that that was a moral failing of society. And just because the outcomes right now might be worse, that doesn't necessarily mean that this is not something that we fundamentally value. We value in America giving people choice.
I hear that. I remember, last week we had this big debate on police, and I think the shortcomings for Michael Malice, I respect the guy, he's a good friend, but he kept saying police were bad. And it sounded like all he was saying was, yes, there are big problems with police, and there's no alternative, or the system will always be bad in some way, but there is a worse.
Wow, kind of like you guys did with the Department of Education. Kind of like you guys do with a whole bunch of things. Oh, this isn't working, so let's just nix it. Let's just get rid of it.
So I look at this now and I'm
Rather
like,
than trying to fix it.
You know, I agree to a certain degree on the deontological aspect of people should have free choice. You want to have a job, you can do it. You want to have finances, all that's fine. Is the end result then the Gen Alpha is 40 million and collapsing, and there won't be any humans in the future, or cities are going to start shrinking, infrastructure is going to start crumbling, and we're going to go, you know, it was a moral good to make sure that we had this semblance of equality under the law, and then society was destroyed by it.
Well, equity of agency does mean bad outcomes sometimes. The issue is that I'm not opposed to people strongly.
Which proves that when women have agency, things go bad.
No,
Because,
actually, when most
like-
people have agency, people make terrible choices, right? When we give young men free agency, what's the window where young men do the most crime? It's typically the ages where they get the most amount of agency. People, when they are given choice, often choose poorly, but that's not the reason we don't give them choice. Because if we don't give them choice, they are enslaved to correct action because of necessity, and that's not the world that we want to live in. We want people to choose the noble thing because they are choosing to do so.
Now here's the thing.
wait,
I see your perspective with agency. I see that, but we need to be honest with women. The problem is that we're not honest with women, right? We don't tell them, look, if you want to pursue a career, you want to make money, your chances of finding a guy
You
down the
already
road are going to
said
be
this.
significantly harder. We don't tell them if you decide to be promiscuous now, it's going to cost you later on. We tell women they should be able to do whatever they want and not deal with consequences of their actions.
Women do hear that all the time. Women hear that all the time. When I lost my virginity to my boyfriend, I was literally terrified that I wasn't going to be valuable anymore. I was 17. I was like, I literally called myself a used car when I was 17 in 2011 or something like that. Like, women are definitely told these things, and these ideas are put into women's heads 100% still. So stupid.
In other words, go ahead and be on OnlyFans and you'll
We
still
just
find a guy that's 6'3",
realize
making
that
$100,000 a month that's going to take you
shit's
seriously.
stupid.
It's not going to happen.
Sure,
So we're
I
not
think-
honest with women about what happens. And the reason why is because women don't really deal with the consequences of their bad decisions a lot of times until it's too late. At least with men, if I'm a loser, I have to deal with the consequences of being a loser. Women don't. We don't tell them the truth. Because financially, there's no incentive to tell women the truth because women are consumers. So we want to tell them what sounds good so they continue to consume.
Bro, real quick, it's like how you
Men buy cars, men consume video games, men buy expensive shoes, men buy... Like, this is just so dumb. This whole consumer thing, too, it's because women typically buy groceries for their families. That's the only reason that women are told that they have the consumer power. That's like where that fucking stat comes from. It's like all of these things can so easily be debunked. And I don't understand why men still listen to this guy.
Unilever owns Ben & Jerry's, and they own Dove's Real Beauty campaign. It's like telling all these women, hey, you're beautiful if you're fat. By the way, here's our ice cream. Eat more of it.
Yeah. We don't tell women the truth, which is one of my biggest problems. Like, if we want to give them agency, that's fine. But at least let's let them know.
And I guarantee you, by the way, fat women absolutely hear throughout their entire lives that they're fat, they're pigs, men don't like them, blah, 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 blah. They've been made fun of growing up, blah, blah. Like, this is just an illusion.
This is what your agency comes with, and if you decide to go down this road, this was going to happen. We don't tell women the truth, which is one of the biggest issues.
I'm totally with you, actually. So one of my biggest frustrations with feminism, as somebody who's defending feminism, which is funny because feminists really don't like me a lot of the time, is that I think that we have done a lot of infantilizing of women. I think that infantilizing of women was a form of sexism that came with low agency. And the issue is that women are being like, we want agency, but also baby us. And I think that that's a bad thing. The issue is that I have no issue with you saying,
I don't want to
women,
be
you should have a
babied.
family. It's the thing that you will come to love the most. You should be more careful in who you're selecting. I don't have any issue with this. I have an issue with you taking away my rights, because that takes away my agency.
Well, a lot of times we have to take your agency away so you make the right decisions. That's the problem.
Well,
And that's
the
how it
issue-
used to work for
that's
a very
not
long
meaningful.
time.
That's not
because when you
meaningful.
leave women, well, here's the thing. When you leave women to their own devices, they make really bad decisions.
When we
right?
leave men
Look
to
at
their
the
own
divorce
devices,
rates,
they
look at
make
the marriage
bad
rates. Look at the way society is now, where the nuclear family is crumbling. When you give women their own decisions, they make really bad decisions. That's why the father was so important, because we would keep our daughters off the stripper poles and our sons out of jail. At least with men, however, when we do dumb shit,
Actually, there are plenty of women who come from two-parent households who end up being sluts. Actually, my sluttiest friends both came from two-parent households and were very, very wealthy. And they were like little perfect picturesque homes. And they were sluttier than anyone else I know, okay? And I love them. But I'm just saying, I know tons of fucking sluts and people who became cam girls who came from two-parent households. Like, this is so dumb.
we deal with consequences. With
How many
women,
men are addicted
they don't
to
deal
porn?
With, they don't deal with consequences.
How many men are addicted to porn?
Here's the thing, though. They're addicted
A
to
lot.
porn because you're right. But again, They deal with consequences for being fucking losers. Women don't. That's my point.
Women do
What does that
because they
mean?
turn.
Okay.
You already wait. Hold on. Of course they do. You already said that if they go on and they have all this career and stuff, they're going to be less likely to find a man. That is the consequence of their choice.
But they don't
that
find
you're
out till
talking
it's too
about.
late. Is my point.
The issue is that most
And we don't
men who are
tell them
addicted to
this.
porn don't discover how much it's fucking up their sex lives until they
Their
actually
dicks
get a
can't come
girlfriend
up,
and they
yeah.
can't inside their girlfriend. That's the issue with porn addiction.
Sure.
So
Wait,
typically,
hold on. Myron, you want to ban porn?
Do I? Man, it has a lot of. Dude, I'm very close to. Yeah,
He wants a nanny state, guys.
I think it needs to be regulated in a way. I think we need to regulate it.
You want to ban porn?
I think it's
No.
a problem.
No.
You don't. But what about all those problems you just named?
Again, I don't want to ban drugs, even though drugs cause addiction a lot of time. I
So,
want
okay.
people to make choices, and I want there to be off ramps for bad choices as much as possible. But at the end of the day, I want people to make a noble choice. If I sit my kid down, hold on, if I sit my kid down and I say carrots or broccoli, and they choose carrots, I'm not going to be like, wow, my kid's picking healthy food. No, they were forced to the correct action by necessity. I don't want that
What if you had
society.
ice cream today? What if you said broccoli, carrots, ice cream? What are they going to
Now
pick?
they have agency.
And what are they going to pick?
They're probably going to pick ice cream for a long
Fuck
time.
yeah, ice cream every time.
Yeah,
So
until they get tummy aches
my
and then they
question.
stop.
It's not to agree or disagree, but it's a philosophical moral question. You keep saying, yes, these bad things are going to happen, but we should be able to choose.
Yes.
If that system leads to the end of humanity, is it the right choice?
That system has led to America as it is today, and I think America.
No, that's not correct.
It
Oh, well,
absolutely
technically
is.
it is.
Hold on.
With all its crime and
well, what is Western
dysfunction.
civilization? Western civilization is Greek philosophy, it's Roman bureaucracy and law, and it is Christian theology. That's the foundation.
So is America the best country in the world, or like are you proud to be an American, or do you fucking hate it? Like they just switch positions based on whatever they're arguing against.
Western society. And all of these systems value individualism. It values your ability to make choices, including bad choices.
So let me ask you: is it like it's nice to have your door open on a
bored of this
nice
already.
cool summer night? You know,
Sure.
it feels good. And then at 3 a.m, one day a guy breaks into your house. Yes, you can mention that there are good systems that lead to comfortability and success, but eventually those can create security problems for your society, which creates the ebb and flow of security states.
Exactly, but
the
this is
problems
why-
are going to get so bad that more Myrons are going to start emerging because they're going to say, crime is way too high. Women keep voting for Democrats overwhelmingly, and whether the reason is that women vote for Democrats, that's what they identify, and then it's going to lead to some kind of social disorder and then an authoritarian shift.
Sure, so there's this.
Kamala would
I
be
wish
president right now if we had to rely on female votes. She would literally
Probably.
be president right now.
Yeah. So
That's bad.
It'd be a Democrat supermajority across the country.
So there's this concept, I wish I could remember what it's called, but it's this idea how essentially sometimes the advocacy, the social advocacy itself prevents the bad thing from happening. So let me give an example. You guys are familiar with Jordan Peterson, Bill C-16. He was super worried about, are you guys familiar with this? So I don't have to
course.
summarize it. You guys are familiar with this? Great, okay.
Yeah, he lost that, didn't he?
He did, but one of his arguments for why he was doing it is he was saying this might lead to some sort of authoritarian control on free speech. And a whole bunch of people, like, especially on my side, were like, you're so stupid. The issue is that it is very likely that his advocacy against C-16 is part of what informed Congress's interpretation of that bill to make it less authoritarian. I don't have an issue with you guys saying women should be more cautious. Women aren't being very smart. I don't have an issue with that. That's free speech. And that is some of the things that will probably offset the degradation of society that you're maybe worried about if I agree with your, like, worldview. What I care about is taking away rights. That's it. That's my hard line. Don't take away the
once
rights.
again, let me ask you the question. If the system you have described leads to the end of humanity, was it a good system?
I would have to believe you that the American project will lead to the end of society. I just don't think it will.
The question is, let's try this again.
Sure.
If a system of open and free choice would ultimately lead to the end of civilization, human death and extinction, is it a good system?
Nope. But I don't think that that's the system that we have.
So at what point in the current trends would it get bad enough for you to believe we are on track for civilizational collapse?
I don't know. Honestly, I might still say, like, yeah, it is the best system, but people are just too stupid to do it correctly. Like, do we really have to live in a police state and, like, baby everybody to make the perfect choices just in order to continue our society? Especially if people don't even, like, want to make those choices that they're forced into living just to continue the society, even though they don't want to live that way. It's like, is that necessarily even better? I don't know.
Could it be like fertility at 0.3 or 0.6?
No. That's tough because the fertility issue is way less about feminism and way more about our terrible food and our agriculture.
I
sector.
disagree.
But to
Well,
be-
like you
to
guys
her
just talked
point, I
about E
think
and testosterone. Like that's really bad for fertility.
Well, they do say that actually, I was saying that earlier about the microplastics. Men are to blame for the fertility
Bro,
issue too. They are.
You're
They-
swinging
they-
for that
they're
good.
by all
serious.
means, we can.
Hot take. Men are also to blame for women's lack of a libido too. And all of this Myron fucking talk leads to women not wanting to have sex, and also men not knowing how to pleasure women so that sex is actually enjoyable for them. all the men out there who know how to pleasure women, seriously, like, kudos to you. Amazing job. We appreciate you.
You can mention that guys have gotten weaker and whinier,
Sure.
whatever you want to
If
say.
you want
but
more
the reality
babies,
is,
if you want more babies, learn how to pleasure women, okay?
I won't make any excuses for it. I didn't have a family in my 20s. I just had a kid for the first time.
Congratulations.
Where was my generation, men and women, to be like, it is a social
who has a
imperative to the
kid?
family now, sort it out. For all the young guys, men were told sexual liberation, you don't need to have a family, who cares, birth control and abortions in every major city. And
Who
now,
was told that?
Gen Alpha, I don't think people realize how insane it is that the upcoming generation that are 15 years old at their oldest, there's only 40 million already. And actually, I'm a big fan of this part. Universities are shutting down. 18 years on from the financial collapse in 07, 08, people my age didn't have any kids. There are no 18-year-olds to go to university or to start jobs. And so companies are struggling to hire. Universities are shutting down. And this is just the beginning of fertility collapse. Now, if we as society,
Our economy will adjust to our population. That's just what happens. I really don't think this whole birth fucking crisis is a crisis. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
that told men, and even, and I'm saying,
You can instill all this fear into all these people because that's what gets you views. That's what I was talking about on my last stream, or 2 streams ago, my political stream I did. Republicans love to instill fear into people because that's what gets votes and that's what gets views. They just love to scare people. And this whole birth crisis is one of their main talking points that they use.
even with choice, they said to men, guys, you should strive to be the best, the strongest, the boss. Women, choose what you want, but social pressure is be a mom, have a family, help society continue. If that was the route we went and we still had
That
social
is
pressures on
still
having
the social pressure.
kids, we wouldn't be in this fertility crisis.
I actually just agree with you. The issue is that I think the way for the government to manage it isn't to like take away women's right to vote. It would be things like child tax credits. Like, didn't the BBB actually include a really big child tax credit? One of the reasons why people don't have kids in a lot of like high income areas is because of
Maternity
wealth
leave.
disparity. I mean, it's like $45,000 to give birth.
The principal reason is always cultural.
I agree. I agree. Right.
So, we live in a society that needs to be saying, what do you mean you don't have kids? That's crazy. Instead, we live in a society where it's like, don't have kids, it's bad for the environment.
Sure, and we kind of hate kids, right? Like, there's a lot of families that move. It's just the argument would be like, I mean, to bring up the Jews, Israel.
Bring them up.
Israel,
my favorite topic.
Yeah, one of your favorite topics. But it's just to use a good example of a high-income country that actually has a really strong cultural value on family. They have a fuckload of kids. Those people, they're all having lots and lots of kids, and they're
'Cause
meeting
they're
the replacement
religious.
level. And so I'm not opposed. I agree with you. The idea that we told a bunch of young people, hey, remember how much the boomers sucked? You shouldn't have kids. Your life will be better. It turns out
I feel like the majority of people want kids. They're just having them later. The majority of people want kids. It's just that the people who don't want kids now are allowed to talk about it and are like valid to feel that way. We can't force people who don't want kids to have kids. I think that is a terrible fucking idea. This is how we lead to child neglect, child abuse, overwhelmed foster care systems. Forcing people who absolutely know they don't want kids to not have kids is not going to work. But the majority of people want children still. They're just having them later.
out when everyone's dead and dying, everyone says the same thing. They wish they had more family connections and they wish they spent more time with them.
So-
Absolutely having kids matters, but make it more affordable, give them tax incentives, incentivize the behavior that we want to see, and encourage it. But
Let me-
don't take away women's right to vote. That's not going to change anything.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think a system that cannot survive, like, I don't know how to ask this question, but if a system cannot survive, does it matter in the long run? Like, there have been very few anarchist communes that have existed as forms of government, but like Catalonia, they get crushed immediately by barbarians.
I don't know, like, does Rome matter even though they got crushed? Yeah, I would say it does.
Yeah, Rome was an empire with
So is America.
Indeed. So I'm talking about anarchist systems that they don't function, they don't work. It's this
Yeah.
idea, it emerges and immediately gets crushed.
Yes.
The point I'm making is,
Nation states
right
matter,
now,
yes.
there is a first, I will point out the humor of the personal on stage, and that Myron doesn't have any kids.
Right.
And Kat does. And so Myron loses that genetic debate.
I'm waiting.
But
Oh, aren't we all?
The end result of this
Well, I got
system-
time on like you guys.
But so the end,
That's what everyone's saying.
Yeah, men technically do have more time, but men's fertility rates and their likeliness to create a healthy child goes down at the same time as women's eggs dry up.
I'm
one of the
glad,
benefits.
But
I'm
let me
glad
finish.
I
Let
waited.
me
If I
finish this
would've
point.
had- yeah.
The end result is that liberals with these feminist sensibilities are less likely to have kids, more likely to abort, and shockingly more likely to surgically amputate the genitals of their children
The majority
than
of women
conservatives
are
who are
not
less
having
feminist and more traditional.
abortions.
You can
Oh
do
my God,
whatever
I'm
the
sorry. The majority of women are not having abortions. A very, 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 very small percentage of women have abortions. And guess what? Like 90% of the women that do have abortions already have children. So abortions have nothing to do with women not having children.
fuck you on TV. As long as that fertility trend continues, and it is happening,
Pretty sure it's 91%.
there's going to be a collapse of the feminist ideology, and conservatives will take over in 50 to 60 years because there are no liberals being born.
Okay.
But the issue is that like typically conservatives' children go to school and then they're like, wait,
And universities are shutting down.
Sure.
And Trump is gutting the Department of Education.
What
Conservatives
universities?
are winning this battle. And I want to stress
Well,
this.
Tim,
too.
but
I
aren't
wanna stress
liberals
real quick-
sluttier though? Aren't they going to get
Perhaps,
pregnant?
but I want to stress this one point. I was talking to
The Department of Education. Oh my God. Yes, the Department of Education. He's trying to get rid of it, and therefore, poor kids who want to go to college aren't going to be able to go to college anymore. Wow, congratulations. That's really going to save our society. Thank you.
Kyla before the show. On the culture war, we may not have abject victory, but South Park has made fun of Donald Trump. Now, why? Is it because he's friends with Epstein? No. Is it because his terror policy is bad? No. It's because he's gay and they called him a When South Park says to mainstream liberals, Trump is bad and it's because he's gay, and that's what they're making fun of. That's a cultural shift so far to the right. It is shocking in a short period of time.
I mean, I would just argue it's a
Liberals fucking love South Park and have always loved South Park. And South Park has always used that language. And that is not a cultural... I love how he's trying to turn South Park's hate for Trump into a fucking Republican swing. What? Oh my God, that must have bothered him so much. He had to go through the craziest mental gymnastics to turn that into... Yeah, no, South Park is definitely Republican. 100%. Wow, that one definitely hurt. I knew that would hurt. I fucking love South Park.
shift towards a center.
And
Like
South
most
Park
libertarians
is South Park is always right. They are always right.
and most like as an edgy liberal, I've always been for like free speech and language. I don't care if you call people like the
And Gen Z guys are shifting rightward. Gen Z is the first generation in 100 years to begin shifting rightward.
Yep.
And I think a large reason, not the only reason, is fertility rates, which we saw in the 2000s among
They don't fucking young men don't give a fuck about fertility rates. Shut the fuck up.
liberals at about 1.43 and conservatives 2.01, meaning in 18 years, there will
18 to 25-year-old men aren't trying to settle down and have children. You are delusional. I don't know, it's because you're just rich and you live in a bubble and you don't actually experience like real normal people anymore. But that is not how it is. It has not been that way since maybe, I don't know, the 50s?
will be 20 or so percent more conservatives than liberals based on who their parents teaching
That's
them.
again, but that's assuming that
And even then, I bet that young men were like, I don't really want to. But their parents were like, well, you have to. Blah, 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 blah. Like, this was a very much culturally pushed, family pushed thing. Like, you have to get married young and have children. They also weren't allowed to move out of their home until you were married, at least for women. So, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, you couldn't move in. Like, my mom got married at 19 because she wasn't allowed to live with her boyfriend. And that guy turned out to be a terrible dude. So they got divorced. Wow, that's so great for society, isn't it?
that these people like don't over time like shift back leftwards, right? And I think,
So
if I could just respond a little bit.
I want to address that. Sorry
Sure.
for talking so much, but I do
Okay.
want to address that point because you mentioned it already about the universities.
Sure.
That's why I brought up South Park. The cultural shift is pronounced. The liberal woke stuff was
South
was
Park
shifted
hating on Trump is not a cultural shift to the right. Oh my God.
so rapidly in the course of a couple of years that when you mention universities and the cultural trends to pull conservative kids left, that's shifted dramatically.
I agree, but I think assuming something like the universities are going to go away, like the university institution has been around for like 2,000 years. I don't think universities are going away, and generally universities tend to trend left because people who are leftward are high openness to experience, so they tend to like things like learning and education, right? What I think is actually more important here is has the left failed to indoctrinate within its culture a value of children? I would just say yeah, I think it has, right? But one thing that I would caution you towards, right, when you write this doomsday of feminism leading to the collapse and decay of all of society, when you look at cultural trends, they're always ebbing and flowing back and forth because one side starts winning the culture war and the political war. They get too much power. They become kind of assholes because a lot of us are assholes with power. And then the other side kind of populates and becomes more popular again, right? And we've seen this dance back and forth between left and right, winning the culture war and leading all the time. This is kind of what democracy is. In fact, that's the fundamentals of what democracy is. And so I don't think that we should be looking at feminism going, this is going to lead to the death and decay of society. We should go, what parts of it are bad? What parts of the institutions are bad? What things need to be corrected? And how do we correct them? Because so far, the miracle of the American project is pretty damn fucking good. It's actually the best thing that's ever happened in human history, probably ever. Okay? We love America.
That's pretty nuanced. I think that's a correct answer. Give it up for NotSoEurodite. I think we can agree with that.
It is a good answer, but I do want to make one point. That's going on right now with Washington, D.C. and it's not, Trump focuses on D.C., but Chicago, all these big cities.
Like the cities? Okay.
It's insane how disgusting and crime-ridden our cities have become. I mean, we saw Tent City on the way here, and there's two questions. Why does the city allow this? And I don't mean to forcefully remove people with no choice. You can make the liberal argument of, why are they not trying to help these people to solve that problem? Or the conservative argument, why are they allowing people to camp on their street? But let's...
Yeah, and we got to get to people, and one thing we didn't talk about, but one point I wanted to make earlier, the aspect of trans people taking over women's space, because you don't think that trans women are a threat to actual femininity or what? I mean,
I'm not for
a
them.
trans person going into a woman's restroom, like, isn't that against
I'm just for co-ed
feminism?
restrooms because if you've ever seen like men's bathrooms versus
I don't give a fuck about trans women coming into the women's bathroom. Nothing is stopping a little sign on the door with a cartoon figure of a stick figure wearing a dress is not going to stop anyone who wants to hurt me from coming in the bathroom and hurting me, or just when I leave the bathroom and hurting me. Okay? Like, I'd love to hear all of these stories of people getting hurt in the bathroom by trans women. It's just not happening. How are we going to have a person at the door that checks our IDs before we go into the bathroom or something? Like, it's so stupid.
If you've got to travel, get a passport. I promise. In Europe, they have oftentimes co-ed bathrooms, and one of the best things about
like nightclubs.
No, like on like public streets, like all through like Venice and stuff. I remember going to co-ed bathrooms in the UK, like in France, it was like totally normal. And surprise, France, yes, in France. And one thing that I would actually point out here is if you've ever seen the lines between like the male bathroom and the woman bathroom, it would be great if we were sharing the same space. Okay,
Come
I'm gonna
on.
get to the bathroom.
Yeah, I willingly go into the men's bathroom by myself sometimes when the women's line is too long. I just go in the stall and pee and leave. Like, I'm not that threatened. I think it's such a fucking...
I'm actually, hold on, I'm
Because you
sorry.
guys-
I'm very passionate about this. Sometimes the woman's bathroom is fucking disgusting because women will not sit on the seat. If you could just sit, everyone could sit. They like hover over and they like it looks like they were hula hooping and pissing all over the place. It's disgusting. It could just be.
These guys really want you to know how dirty their bathrooms are.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they are. But if we could just sit, then we could all sit.
See, men are better at everything, even bathrooms.
We could all
They're better at
sit.
everything, even bathrooms. They can't even pee correctly.
Well,
We give them
I didn't
rights.
say that, but...
It's crazy.
Do you guys hear this?
You guys.
There's a very funny
Prove my
story.
point.
Real quick, we're gonna go to the audience, but there was a really funny story where this woman was an Antarctic researcher complaining about sexism because she couldn't stand up and piss in Antarctica, and so she was insisting that the U.S. spend research the research grant money on building outhouses in the middle of Antarctica because it was sexist that men could unzip and release, and she couldn't, and she didn't think it was. She didn't want to use one of those funnels.
They have the funnel, yeah. I know.
She should've
Anyway,
used the funnel.
My mom
Yeah,
used
it's
one
fun.
for
Good
years.
time.
We're
All
not
right.
spending money on
Well,
outhouses.
the penis tech is a good tech, I will say. That
Juice
shit of
swap.
spraying around, that's pretty cool.
All right, guys, this has been a good debate so far.
here, right?
Yeah, I got the list right here. Okay, guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to pick some names, and you're going to immediately haul ass to this side of the stage where I'm pointing. We're going to have a microphone. If you're good for a minute, we might bring you on stage. If you suck, we're going to make you sit down, okay? So even though the order...
Now you know what Alex thinks about you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to be open and honest, guys. All right, so our first person that we're calling is...
Let's go from the list.
Yeah, we are. Armand Gupta. Where's Armand Gupta?
I
Is
remember this
Armand
guy.
here?
I
Was
think
he
Alex
here
made
last
fun of you
week?
the first
No,
one.
I think I'm going to kick him off. Yeah, Armand. Where is Armand Gupta here? Armand, is
I can't see anything because
Dr. Gupta,
Yeah,
come on down.
Just see black.
Is he here? I guess he's not here. Okay, well then, all right, I like this person. Ava Terry. Is Ava Terry here? Ava, come on
right
down.
here, too. Look at this. Rapid response. All right, Ava, you got 1 minute.
Okay, it's Eva. Nice to see you guys. My first thing I would like to say is the man on the far left over here. What was your name again?
Myron.
Myron. Yeah. I would just like to say that your rhetoric sounds exactly like third wave radical feminism, but for a man.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering how you expect to solve a problem by doing the exact same thing that you think is the problem.
Well, because when men have monopoly of power, good things happen. When women have it, society
Come on up,
crumbles.
Come on up, Ava. That's good. She's smart. No, the other way. Just come this way. No, this way.
I like
on
how
down.
I like
Oh,
the way
this is
she,
spicy. Yeah,
yeah,
she's-
making fun of Myron.
Ooh,
Eva,
Myron.
give it up, Eva.
All right, Ava.
Like from
Hello.
Wall.
How are you?
Is it
It's Eva, I fucked
Eva
up.
or Igua?
Eva.
Eva. Okay.
So explain why Myron was wrong again.
She said I'm radical, basically.
Well, I just think that your rhetoric is exactly the same
She's
thing that
very
you hate.
pretty.
Okay.
And I was wondering how you think that's going to solve the problem. If women hating men is what has caused this problem in the first place, how is men hating women going to fix it?
Yeah, so it's not us hating you guys. It's just us realizing that you guys are not equal to us, and we have to be the custodians of women. We have to protect and provide for you guys. I'm actually very big into a traditional relationship where the man is the leader and protects and provides for his woman, and all she has to worry about is making sandwiches and taking care of the kids. And I think that's how society's thrived for a long time. So it's actually the contrary. I think men need to protect women from themselves a lot of the times, because I don't think women in positions of power leads to a great society.
So one other thing that you said earlier was that men being in power has led to a great history.
Yes.
Do you think that the history of men being in power is flawless?
No, there's always going to be flaws with human error in general.
So human error in general, that includes men and women. And why would women have more error than men?
Well, here's the thing. We don't have any matriarchies that have stood the test of time, really. Everything that's been successful has been a patriarchy. So,
for beehives.
there's a bunch of beehives.
We're not
Fantastic.
bees. We're not
Of
bees.
course.
I hate stuff like that.
Except for bees.
Yeah, we're not bees.
wait.
Sorry, Ava. We're not.
Okay, I mean, first of all, like, the majority of societies have been patriarchal, especially historically, like anciently, because men are stronger and they can just wield their power over women easier.
Bees.
Wait, but if we just granted your evolutionary argument of like development, yeah, patriarchies have been the most competitive, and now what we're seeing is that an egalitarian society that includes women in like the workforce and the right to vote are the most successful societies in modern.
Yes.
Like it seems like we've just continued to advance, and the next level of advancance is the inclusion of women.
No, I don't.
I don't know what to tell you. History disagrees.
No, again,
Yeah, good
feminism has led to
point.
so many
Good
problems
point.
with this whole egalitarianism because, again,
So
when-
Saudi Arabia is better than America.
I'm sorry.
Saudi Arabia is better than
we're
America.
back
We're back
there.
there.
You are correct about that, but they have some things in better check
Interesting.
than we do when it comes to dealing with their women, right? But yes, to go back to what we're saying, I think a male-led society is going to fare off a lot better than a female-led society. Is my point. Everything is going to be prone to human error, but I think when men are in charge, there's going to be less error.
Do you... Okay. I would just say to that throughout history, you
Sure.
know, and you think about all of the major wars and everything, are we in a significantly different place on a world cultural scale than men-led societies?
I'm a little confused by your question. Are you saying, like, are we...
With women having the right to vote, has
Yeah.
that changed? Have there been more wars since women have been given the right to vote?
I think
mean-
yes.
Yeah,
In
I
the
mean,
United States, and without declaration of war.
Yeah, are you saying like the United States? Yeah, you can make the argument. Yeah, I mean, again, my thing is, I think that men are better than women in everything that matters, and I think men need to lead society, and I think women should be focusing on having.
So liberals voted for Vietnam. Who wanted Vietnam? Liberals? Who wanted the Iraq War? Liberals? Really? Huh. Weird.
Having children and families versus chasing a career. And if we are going to allow them to go ahead and chase a career, let's at least be honest with them and let them know that this is going to come with some very serious consequences.
It wasn't
that might
liberals,
lead
by
to
the
your
way, guys.
long-term
Just
sorrow,
in case
sadness,
you didn't get that.
antidepressant medication, etc. I just don't think that we're honest with women
Myron.
about where they stand.
Would you have children through an artificial womb?
No.
So,
If men
so
are so
you-
much better than women, then why are they failing so much at things like education and achieving like high status jobs? Why are women?
Because the
actually
education system
outcompeting?
is literally geared towards women.
So women have
Sitting
been
down
like
and
more
being submissive and listening
powerful.
to someone lecture you.
I just
like,
I don't hold on.
Wait, but hold on. Career-wise, almost most of the Fortune 500 companies are run by men.
I agree, but the
Irrespective.
issue is that like if men are so much better than women, then how are we in this position where like suddenly men are also like being like destroyed by society and crushed by them? Like we can't have these two mutually exclusive things at the same time. What I would actually argue is that men are stupid in a lot of stupid ways. You guys punch things, stop doing that. You guys masturbate all the time, stop doing that. Chill out.
Women
okay?
masturbate too.
Women, but a lot fucking less.
You guys have like
Right, there's a whole
battery-powered
industry.
dildo.
seriously,
I think you
there's
guys masturbate
billions
a
to be
lot.
made.
Nobody's gonna make the argument that porn is
the
more
WNBA is just become the dildo show.
Yes.
Sure.
More dildos in the WBA.
Sure, but nobody would argue that women are actually consuming more porn than men. Porn is obviously dominantly male consumed, and male OnlyFans is mostly purchased for by men. Okay.
Yeah.
Sad men. Okay.
But I do want to stress this point.
Goddamn
There's an
Jews.
argument. There's an
Come
argument.
up, come
problem.
up. Submit your name, guys, if you want to talk
So,
to me.
greater male variability hypothesis. There are a shitload of really shitty guys, but they're
I think she is the smartest person on this panel. She speaks just like I'm so envious of the way she speaks. She speaks so like fluently, and she's able to communicate her points very successfully. Like My vocabulary is just so lacking. I'm just not really a great communicator. So, but I'm streaming because I have opinions, okay? And I think they're interesting. But whatever. I just, maybe I'll get better at it with time. I'm still pretty new to this, so. But I love the way she's able to communicate and speak.
There's a smaller amount of substantially more successful, intelligent, and strong guys than women.
This is like the hypergamy argument.
No, it's the greater male variability.
Oh, yeah. I would agree. Like, when you look at, like, the extreme ends of genetics, right, men tend to be the stupidest and the smartest, right? Like, if you look at the lowest IQ individuals, sorry, guys, it's men.
Guys.
But when you
Yeah,
look at the
that's
highest IQ individuals, it's also men, right? Women are a lot more stable in a lot of things, which is, I think, one of the things that, yes, stable. For example, their bell curve is more flattened, right? You're not going to get the extreme ends on either
let me
side,
ask you a question.
which is good for society.
Let me ask you a question. Is it better for society to be led by the smartest individuals?
Not always necessarily. This idea of like
Sometimes
a
stupider individual?
well, no, like mostly virtuous. I want the society
No.
to be
Irrespective
led
of
by-
virtue, let's assume that we're aiming for virtuous people. Would we, of the
we are.
virtuous
Assume.
people we've identified, we want the smartest of them,
Well,
right?
I want to answer
I
this.
would just say we have-
well, because there's two parts of our brain. There's a logical part. There's the
Oh,
emotional
I
part.
gotta ask this question.
He wants to appeal to my feelings too.
Let's say we've looked at the most virtuous people in the country.
Yeah.
Would we want to choose the smartest of them to be our leaders?
Assuming that they're like actually qualified, sure, I suppose. But
Okay, like
well,
aptitude. Let's say aptitude.
Yeah,
They're
sure. The
capable.
highest aptitude. I just think
Okay,
that for
the
the most part, when it comes to leadership, it's more about a prerequisite, which is a really high prerequisite. But then after that,
my
humans
point
actually
is,
exist. Sure.
when you look at Fortune 500 companies, with or without feminism, the only way to get parity of female leaders is
It's
through
by
force.
getting men. I don't
Is
want
through
parity.
social force.
I don't want parity.
I'm not
Like
saying you do.
DEIs
I'm just making
and
this point that with the greater male variability hypothesis, you are going to see most world leaders will always be men, most CEOs will always be men, the top physical performers will be men. And
Most
it's
of the
because
homeless will
there's-
be men. Most of the drug
but that's
addicted
the
and most
point
of the
I'm
criminals will also
making.
be
Indeed,
men.
the
Yeah.
point I'm making is there are very, very few positions of power and authority, and because there are going to be there's a greater male variability and aptitude, you will always see these positions dominated by men. However,
Okay.
modern feminism, especially throughout the past 80 years or so, always has said it's a patriarchy run by men. No, it's a system run by those most capable that happen to be men.
Well, I want to make this argument, though, and it's an oversimplification, but basically our brain has two hemispheres, right and left, and there's one that they consider more emotional and one that's more logical.
Yeah, like I'm not for like forcing women into workplace positions that they like don't deserve, right? Just because there's no female working in that high of a position, right? Like I'm not for that. I just think women want a fair shot. And historically, men have seen women as less capable, so are therefore more likely to pick a man, even though the woman is just as capable in certain situations. So that's what we're fighting for.
And that they say men use the logical side and women use the emotional side more. And I would argue that if you're more emotionally intelligent, that can make up for your logical intelligence. So even though you're not like a
This is
brainiac, a woman that has
stupid.
smart emotional intelligence can be just as successful. You don't agree?
Trying to open your phone.
I know, God, I'm just saying, you don't agree that how that can, or I guess Myron, I mean, you don't think that can overcome for logical intelligence, emotional intelligence?
That's not a thing.
Well,
That is a
Yeah,
thing.
it's
That is
not
a
a
there's
thing.
thing.
emotional stability and rationality.
There's
but
emotional intelligence.
Oh,
That's a
he's
real-
saying emotional intelligence isn't a thing. It's not a thing that women are more emotional and men are more logical. That is fucking not true.
Yeah, because it makes it like when somebody provokes you, whether you react. Men are more reactionary, women are less reactionary. So the emotional part of your brain is actually very important. Even when you're driving, like if you get mad in road rage, like
That's
yeah.
just-
Again, this is all just an individual thing.
greater male variability stuff. Like the guys who are going to be the best
Well-
are going to be calm, reasoned, and the same thing is true for women. But there will be more men than women.
But on average, women are more reasonable than men because they use
Agreeable.
Agreeable, whatever you want to
Well,
say. I'm
that's-
just saying.
I would
Agreeable
just-
is really, really important when you predict for people who are like rising to the top of like organizing people. Agreeability and the ability to work with others is an essential part, particularly of our modern like economy.
I disagree. That's how you get a bunch of yes men circle jerking each other.
No, not at all. Being
yeah.
agreeable doesn't mean that you don't have boundaries, right? Being agreeable means that you can like see what the priorities are and you can try to work together and find cohesiveness. I don't know what to tell you when it comes to like some of the best managers and some of the best like high senior VPs. The reality is that agreeableness predicts really strongly for this. The only people where disagreeableness predicts is typically for the CEO. But again, I don't have an issue with like men being CEOs necessarily.
Right, I would just like to say, so I'm not for like the infantilization of women in any capacity. Whether that's
Yeah.
women, I just would like it to be a level playing field in terms of some women will go out and be successful and have very successful, high-earning careers, such as myself, and but without needing to be like calling my dad to ask if I can fuck a guy or whatever it is that Myron wants. Either side of that infantilization, I'm against. I'm a human being
Be
with
better off.
agency.
If you ask your dad.
If I ask my dad,
Yeah,
so
you'd be
because you
better
said that before, right? Like mating decisions. So should I call my dad and ask if I can fuck, or should I just call my dad and ask if he has to pull out?
Well, my thing is you should be calling your dad. Well, You just exposed yourself as a 304, but that's fine. I mean, I think you should be.
That's okay. You can sit and
Yeah.
call a married woman
Married
with a child
woman
a hoe. That says a
exposed.
lot more about you than it does about me, babe.
Well, you're the one making crass jokes, so I'm jumping in with you. So the point is that I think the
That's a
father should
crass
actually
joke
be
versus
involved.
calling me
I
a
think the
hoe.
father,
Like you
I think the father should be involved actually in the mating process with a woman. I think the dad should actually be intimately involved with picking the guy because when women are left to
Hey,
their
Dad,
devices,
can I fuck?
See,
That is
yeah.
kind of weird. All right, guys,
Hey,
give it up
Dad,
for Eva. All right.
can he pull
Does
out?
he like hold your hand while you do it?
That's the future you
Here's-
want?
come
Is he
on.
pushing his asses a little bit more to help?
Here we go. She's not even going to let me speak. It's very simple. So I actually think that fathers should be involved in their daughters' mating decisions because here's the thing with women. You guys tend to pick the bad boy or the guy that might not necessarily be the best long-term suitor when you're at your highest value. So when the father comes in, he's able to assess this guy, be like, no, this guy doesn't really want you for you. He just wants to use you for sex.
And guess what? We date those bad boys and then we learn. And then we end up finding better guys. That's what happens, okay? And guys also tend to date bad girls, okay? They tend to date, like when they're younger, they'll often date these pretty girls who are not good for them at all and oftentimes very toxic, but they go for them because they're pretty or whatever. So, and it's just a learning experience. We do dumb things. Everybody does stupid things when they're young, and then they learn. And also, lots of people do take into consideration their family's opinions. The dad isn't going to like this bad boy either way, and she will, whether or not she like listens right away, she will keep that in the back of her mind.
Sex. I don't want this guy. I'm going to go find you another guy that's going to actually, love you and be with you long-term and provision. This is why
I
arranged
will
marriages
say
work
that
for so
I
long.
have
When
a-
women are able to make their own decisions, they do dumb shit. So it is what it is.
It's like when the farmer dad chases the guy out of the house with the shotgun saying, get away from my daughter.
No, it's
Yeah.
like when Hulk Hogan called Brooke Hogan.
Yeah, we gotta make terrible
Yeah,
decisions
the next
on the
person,
phone.
real quick, come up to the stage. We got Carly Nocta. Carly Nocta, are you here, Carly Nocta? What? Okay, no Carly Nocta.
These people are like, I want to come up and debate, but I'm not going to show up.
Yeah, all right. Our next person, Jay Zollers. Is Jay Zollers here? Jay, get your ass up here. I see you getting up. Give it up for Jay.
Is that a beer?
He's got a beer.
I hope he's drunk.
I hope he's wasted. Come on down, Jay.
Alex, you want him straight up on stage?
No. Let's see what he's
All right,
got.
yeah, what if you
Kind of crazy. Alex Stein has been the most reasonable guy on this panel.
This guy's drunk, probably. Come on. What is it?
All right, as there's obviously a fertility crisis all across the world, Japan, Korea, United States, everything, there should be certain things that need to be implemented to fix that. But let's be honest, should people who do not have children collect Social Security? Or should they be banned from getting Social Security at the end of the day?
What?
Make that a requirement for
Well, it depends. Do they have a disability? It's actually pretty hard to get Social Security, or is he talking about like SSI?
Social Security is having kids.
That's retarded. Who cares?
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I thought he was talking about like government supplements, like monthly government supplements, like for people with disabilities and stuff, because it's really hard to get that if you don't have a family. If you don't have kids, like it's even hard to get food stamps if you don't have kids.
Okay, you got something better than that? Let's go.
No, man. Like, just enjoy
All
the
right, go
time,
sit
man.
down, Jay. Go sit down. Thank you.
Give it up.
I didn't see that one coming.
It is a good point, but it's very granular to the whole debate that the system that we have now is overly compassionate to the point of detriment.
Well, I got the next person I'm calling up. She can come straight up here. Amber Duke.
Let's
Where's
go.
Amber Duke? Come on. Amber. Come on down, Amber. Amber's a beast. I'm curious to see which side she's going to take, though.
Did they autograph the mustard?
So much nuance.
Okay, I know. See, that is the thing. Is Myron? That's the only complaint that I really have, though, is that I do think it is a nuanced situation, right? Like women aren't all retarded and dumb, you know.
just a lot of them.
Just the majority of them. Yeah,
A lot of them.
Go ahead.
My
Majority
husband would
of
agree with
people
you, but
are retarded.
I had a question.
Smart guy.
Are you religious?
No.
Okay, I was just curious because it explained a lot of your comments. But I actually wanted to challenge you on your claim that women don't have empathy.
Okay, sure.
I actually think the
Let me
problem...
clarify though. When I talk about empathy, I mean as into the masculine experience and how men,
Oh, it's
like
okay.
to us, because and this is why so many women struggle with keeping a guy long term. Like men have to understand women to get laid. Women don't have to understand us to get laid.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Isn't Sure. it that men can't keep a woman long?
To get laid, like that just shows that he has no empathy. It's not, like relationships are just about getting laid. Like how fucking retarded.
Since they're the ones divorcing him?
What was that?
Isn't it that men can't keep women long term since women are the ones initiating most divorce? So
Well,
shouldn't
what I'm
men
saying is
get
that a
better
lot
at
of
their
modern day
empathy?
women, when I talk to them and they say, like, one of the top questions I get with girls is like, well, what do guys want, especially more attractive men? And it's amazing to me that they even have to ask that, because with men, if we don't know what women want, we just have to deal with consequences. But with women, they can kind of get along in life and meet guys and date and everything without really knowing what men want. But yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so my point about empathy was actually that I think
Well, by the way, every guy wants like a different thing. Every guy wants a different type of girl. There might be some like generalities, but honestly, I don't even know that. Lots of guys live tons of different unique lifestyles that not that like can't just fit overall like a blanket solution.
The reason perhaps why you think women don't have empathy is because of these issues we're talking about with women getting married later in life and having children later in life. The empathy is not directed towards the family unit anymore, and it's actually extrapolated to outside groups, which is why we see things like tent cities and an outsized focus on minority groups.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, they can absolutely have sympathy, but when I'm talking about empathy specifically, I'm talking about the male experience and like kind of how men go through things in life. Like I don't think women are empathetic to the masculine experience. Whereas like men, we have to understand women to some level if we want to be successful. And if you look at guys that like are really good with women, like pickup artists or dating coaches or whatever, they have a very fine-tuned understanding and empathy to women because they're trying to get laid. So they have to be able to think ahead on what the woman's going to expect, what she's going to want, the type of vibe she's going to want when it comes to making something sexual. So I argue that men are far more empathetic than women are, especially guys that are good with women. I don't think women are empathetic to men because they don't have
I gotta disagree with that because you're also making the point that women aren't getting good guys because they're hypergamous. And so if women are going to suffer later in life because they can't get a good guy who wants to help them have a family and be a strong protector, that is a detriment to women by... I guess what I'm saying is women need to be empathetic to the male experience if they want to have a successful family and relationship.
That's right.
Yes, but they have that comes through them learning. And my thing is, I'm saying, yes, there are some women who are capable of doing that, right? I've noticed girls that have like a strong father, a lot of brothers, like they get it. But I'm saying a lot of women don't, and they're still able to get through life fairly easily without knowing it. And it isn't until maybe later on.
So to clarify, it's not intrinsic to being a woman; it is cultural.
Yes, there's no need because no one gives a fuck about men in general. So most women are kind of like, well, why do I gotta understand this guy? I'm hot. Like, take me out.
But just to clarify again, if women were raised by good dads, they would understand this. You're saying?
Most women I've met that understand this, they come from either a strong patriarch with a father, uncle, or brothers. When they do have it, they have like.
Kat, did you have something to say?
Well, I mean, I have a wonderful father. I would say I'm very grateful to have a wonderful father, and it's been such a joy to watch my husband be such a wonderful father. And we're raising a little boy who is going to grow up and be a wonderful father, I hope. And Myron, I hope that someday you can be as happy in a relationship as I am in mine.
Yo, Myron's going to have a daughter and his whole show's going to shift. He's going to be a raging liberal.
I want to say one thing to Kat, though. Kat.
Yeah.
Kat.
No daughter.
Well, I do want to say, though, that you are a female comedian, very successful in a male-dominated
Hey, what's
industry.
up?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you give a lot of credit to having a strong father?
I give a credit to having a strong father every single day. I talk to my dad every day. I am so grateful to have the father that I have. And I think that men that are as wonderful as my father deserve all the credit in the world.
Is he funny?
He is funny.
I think
yeah.
I got a real funny.
And I agree. I think that's a lot of, even in like the black community, obviously I think it's a lot of the broken home situations, Myron, that there's actually a lot of examples where black guys have both parents there and they're incredibly successful. So I think that, the way that people are brought up, the patriarchy or whatever you want to call it, is very important to their,
Well, yeah, I've always said
isn't-
that strong dads keep daughters off poles and sons out of jail. It's very important.
But isn't part of the issue that we're outlining here that you're saying is that society doesn't
These are
have
all
empathy towards
horrible
men, which I would
people,
actually
yeah.
just agree with. There's really good research on this, actually. If you look at like
I
the
don't know. NotSoEurodite doesn't seem that bad, and Kat seems kind of funny. I don't really know much about her yet, but she doesn't seem that bad either.
age at which we view boys becoming men, it almost completely overlaps with the spike of suicide rates amongst young boys, which is about the age of 14. So I would actually wholly agree with you that society doesn't have like empathy for men in any way, shape, or form, right? And we have this kind of weird infantilized empathy for women that I think is actually harmful to them in a lot of ways because it robs them of a lot of their agency. But when you're saying like it's women that don't have empathy for men, I feel like you're actually missing like 50% of the pie. When it's society. Nobody cares about men. They don't care that you're struggling. They don't care that you're lonely. They think your tears are gross. And I think that that's a horrible state. But I don't think this is a woman-driven thing. This is a societal issue.
I want to say this point to the infantilization of women. I think that it's very obvious, though, that women's social power only goes down with age as men's go up.
Yep.
So it's directly inverse. So you would want to infantilize a woman because her value is more when she's younger. So she would want to skew and tend to be more young. I mean,
sure,
isn't that right?
I think we should only infantilize children. I don't think
I'm
adults.
I'm not pro, but I'm saying
I don't like infantilizing adults. I understand why. I think you're right as to like why we oftentimes like systemically infantilize women more. I just think it's harmful to both women and to men because it leads to this like really weird disjunct where if a woman is like sexually aggressive with a man, people are like, oh, he probably loved it. But if a man does the same thing towards the same age woman, we're all like, he's a monster. And I think that creates this disjoint of unparity that I think is harmful and devalues men in a way that I don't think is good.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not sitting here trying to feel sad, but I'm just saying, like, this is just the honest reality when it comes to, like, how women deal with men and how men deal with women. Like, men have to understand women, whereas women don't really have to understand men to be able to get the same access, right?
But if they
Women don't
understood women better, they'd probably have longer marriages and women would be leaving them less often, I'm assuming, right? Because women cite the same reasons over and over for why they end the marriages, even though I would argue to women, like there should probably be more.
Women end relationships a lot of times because they have this concept that they should always be happy, and that overrides duty to the family. So that's another reason too why women end marriages and relationships, because we tell women that their happiness overrides everything, and they'll be like, oh, you know what, I could do better. Like women have this perpetual, the grass is greener on the other side, I could do better.
There are some relationships that are so toxic that it is actually healthier for the children to get a divorce. Kids feed off of their parents. They're off of their parents' attitudes, off of their parents' vibes, off of their parents' state of mind. So if kids are constantly seeing their parents that are miserable and don't like each other, that's not helping them in any way. Of course, I would never argue just get a divorce, like if you're going through a rough patch in a relationship. But if it is exceedingly toxic and an unhealthy relationship, it actually is probably healthier for the children to see a successful co-parenting relationship between those parents and divorce rather than forcing to live together and being miserable. Kids want to see their parents happy.
I can do better.
It's usually I could do better without.
Well,
It's usually why they're leaving men. They don't say I can find a new man who's better. They say I'd
Right.
rather be single than fucking put up with this shit.
wanna
That's usually
throw
why
out-
women leave men.
Yeah.
I have a stupid, uninformed hypothesis where I think women will average at a slight state of discontent relative to men. And the reason why I think that might be is that imagine there's two tribal, plains, savannah-dwelling humans, two tribes, and in one, the woman is always content with what is. So the guy comes back and says, "Hey, I caught us some fish. We have food for the day," and she goes, "That's perfect." The other woman in the other tribe is, no matter what happens, she's always a little unhappy and demanding more of the man. So he says, "I brought enough fish for food." And she goes, "Why am I only getting 2 fish? This is bullshit. I want 3 fish." And he goes, "Okay, I'll go get you more fish. Geez, calm down." One day, there's a famine. The woman who was always complaining has more and survives, and the woman who was content does not. This is not to dig on women. I'm saying that women are demanding of their men because they want to survive, and so
Yes.
they constantly expect more from men.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to, like I've said this, women get mad at me when I say this, but like women are literally designed to extract value from men. Like that is what they are designed to do. We're
you
designed
saying-
to provide value. Their values,
understand
what they do is extract value. This is why,
But
like,
you don't got to say it in such like a dick way. You know what I mean?
yeah, but it's the
Amber,
truth.
what do you have to
It's
say,
the truth.
Amber?
This is why women,
Well, you're
like,
asking
this
her
is
to
why we
commit
don't
18
care.
years of her life and to carry a body that is destructive to our body. Being able to bear a child is like
We understand. we
annihilates our
understand.
body.
hard.
But
Well,
the,
when you're
the
saying
point
we're
I'm trying
women,
to make is that women are literally designed to extract value from men.
But you're
This is why
narrativizing it
when
in a way that I
man-
think is
This
unfair.
is why when a woman makes more money than her man, she starts to think like, what the hell's going on here? Like women are not designed to provide long-term
But that's,
provisioning to a man.
that's
They're just
only
not designed.
true. That's only true that when women earn more than their male partners, that it's a problem for the relationship. If the male has a very traditional view of masculinity, and she does too, the moment that you remove a traditional view of masculinity,
Yeah.
where, for example, the woman goes like, I'm the breadwinner, and that's totally fine with me, suddenly the relationship's completely balanced out.
Yeah.
The data is just robust in this.
I wanted to ask.
Yeah, it is, and also
Women don't do well when they're
One
in
last thing,
different
Amber, then we're
roles.
going to bring somebody
I
else
just
up.
wanted to ask.
It is also in my experience. I would say not every man could be with me. I think a lot of men have being with me
think that's
felt
pretty obvious.
emasculated. That's cute. Have felt emasculated by me. You could never handle me, Myron. That's obvious.
wouldn't
That's
want to.
obvious. Oh,
Thank God.
and I would never either. I would
Thank
never
God.
either. But my
sound like a
man is
dude.
very,
At least
very
she's not a black
masculine
guy, so
and
that's
very,
good.
very, very strong and able to be with.
Let's try and get Amber in.
All right.
Again,
Broad
this is
question
what
for
he
the
does.
group.
Sorry, okay, calm down, calm down.
I
I'm
want to
not
get
gay, and she acts like a
everyone's
guy.
opinion on this.
I had pushed a baby out of my vagina. That's about as feminine as you can get.
Well, men can't have babies.
But you talk
Amber,
like a
Amber,
guy.
Amber.
And you have a deep voice.
All right. So
Amber.
I want to focus this one on third wave feminism specifically and what I think the underlying issue is, because I'm not Myron, I'm not arguing for women to not get the right to vote, etc. But if we look at third wave feminism, I think one of the distinct problems with it is that it's not that women shouldn't be considered equal to men. It's that third wave feminism pushed the message that men and women were the same.
Yeah, I hate third wave feminism. I mean, I'm a feminist, but I'm not pro third wave feminism.
Well, we agree. All right, Amber, thank you so
Wonderful.
much. Thank you, guys. Give it up for Amber Duke. All right, our next thing is Joe.
Men and women are not the same, and guess what? Humans as a whole are not the same. Individuals are not the same. Nobody is the same. Nobody on this panel is equal. Nobody is equal, literally. Like, that's just an individual thing. And yes, there are differences between genders. There are differences between races. There are differences between communities. Like, that's just such a stupid statement.
Cowman here. Joe Cowman. Joe, you here? Yeah,
Yep.
Joe, come on down to the right
These
side.
guys
of
are
the
all
stage.
centrally located.
Like,
tonight.
just
I love
saying
it.
men and women
Yeah,
are
thank you,
equal
Joe. What do you got
doesn't
for us?
mean anything.
Kind of retarded, but
She admits it.
good way to
Great,
start
good
off.
start.
So I have a two-part question for the feminists. Do you think that a time 200 years ago, the way that feminism and females' roles in society, do you think that that was oppressive? Yes or no?
Yeah, I mean, before women had rights, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was robbing of their agency.
Did
in
they
some ways.
have a particular role in the society
Yeah,
that
typically.
would not be able to exist back then?
I feel like I'm not understanding
sorry,
the question.
Yeah, I have no
today.
idea. What the hell are you talking
I don't
about?
really
Let's
get
be-
it.
I feel like you're
give me
begging
the-
the question. Do you want to just make your point and then ask a
Yeah,
question?
yeah.
Like,
Okay.
what do you think
So
about this?
we have a lot of consumerism and technologies nowadays that I think enable feminism. do you think that a time when they didn't have paper towels or a washer machine or all of these other things that women used to do, were they oppressed in that role, taking care of a house?
I like this question.
Yeah, I think
I do like this question.
I think essentially that when you like take away people's like political rights, you are robbing them of agency. Which
Having to take care of your house is not oppressive. But if you don't have an option to do anything else and you're just forced to do that, and you literally don't have rights to do anything else, then yes, that is oppressive.
I think is inherently oppressive. I think stealing people's ability to make choices is bad. And most importantly, you can see this, for example, when you look at Spartan women versus Athenian women. Spartan women were actually like expected to manage the household because Spartans thought it was gay for men to like touch money, basically, which is funny. But Spartan women, as a result, were able to negotiate a lot more things like better wages, better like marital care, better maternity leave, whereas Athenian women were basically like rejected from society. And as a result, they were like entirely powerless. So yes, not having any political power or agency diminishes your ability and does create.
Well, let me ask you to the point of the technology of it.
Sure.
Women of the 1800s, were they oppressed?
Broadly, the poor ones especially, yes. The like rich ones, yes. To a
Was it
lesser
oppressive
degree.
that they were expected to be doing womanly things, cleaning laundry?
No, it was the robbing of the rights.
What- but-
it was that
can't
they
we
had
all-
no other choice to do anything else.
Can't we all agree that even since the beginning of time, women have had gender roles, different gender roles than men, though? I mean, is that
Men and women are not
No,
the
I'm saying
same.
I agree
Yeah.
with you. So that's from the beginning of time we've known
The
The
point,
difference
which
is
is
men could choose cobbler or these sorts of things. Women were only allowed to have babies and
right.
home make the house.
But the
and
reason,
that was basically
the
it.
reason why I think this is a good point, actually, is that firearms have greatly equalized power between men and women in a lot of ways. So if you were
Guns
a
are
woman in the 1800s, you weren't going to be a sheriff, right?
yeah.
Because I think it was until like the late they didn't have cartridges until the late 1800s. So if you're late 1700s, it was not oppression. They said a woman can't be in this role. It was the physical impossibility of it.
It was both, right?
But the other thing too is
they would even say she like invented something. There was some superpower woman who could theoretically maintain the same jobs.
But
She wasn't allowed to.
But the issue is, you're not likely to see a woman, manually tilling fields with pickaxes.
That's not true. Actually, women were regularly doing farm labor. In fact, that was one of the main domicile areas. that they
Specifically
existed
tilling
in.
the fields.
Yes, they would.
Men were
specifically-
pulling these things before beasts of burden.
So were women. I don't know what to tell you there. This
Okay.
was just shared by the household.
You're making the argument that women were doing physical feats men were disproportionately doing those physical feats. But
No,
now
I'm
it's not a
making an
big deal
argument
to have
that
a
men
female
had
tractor
agency.
driver.
Well, no, I said men had agency and women didn't. Right? My issue isn't that women
reason-
had traditional gender roles.
The
My issue
reason
is
why
that women
men
had no
carried
choice to be
heavy
anything
things and
else.
chopped lumber was not because they oppressed women.
I don't have a problem with that. I have an issue if women can't choose to do things like teaching or own
Men
real
did not
estate.
invent pickle jars to oppress women. They're just hard to open.
I don't know why you're running away from this argument.
Because now they have automatic
there's-
pickle jar openers. You don't need men anymore.
There's nothing masculine about owning property, right? There's just nothing inherent.
That's
There's
what I'm talking
nothing. Well, that's what I'm talking about.
The point
So
he
engage with
made
me.
was with technological advancements allowing for women to not have to do these jobs is a depression when they did. And I think it's an interesting point that men chop lumber because they have big upper bodies and heavy arms.
I never
and
said I
are
want
easy to swing
women
the
in the
axe.
1800s to
But
chop
now
lumber.
that we have automatic lumber splitters, it's not a big deal to have women doing that job. They weren't oppressing women by saying, no, we're going to have a guy chop lumber.
I'll just state my opinion again because I don't think you're engaging with it. I'm not saying that women were oppressed in the 1800s because they weren't lumberjacks. I'm saying women were oppressed because they didn't have the option to be anything but homemakers and own private property. That's why they were oppressed.
I think she makes a good point. Okay, all right, go sit down, Joe. I don't think that was that great. Jory Brooks. Jory Brooks. Is Jory Brooks here? Come on down. Am I saying that right? Jory?
He's coming.
Come on, Jory. We have a limited time limit here.
Over here, brother.
Time limit.
Make a show
We're
run
just
4
gonna-
hours next time.
Yeah, we do need a 4-hour show, actually. But what do you got for us?
All right, I got a simple question for Myron. Do you think these things should be legally enforced or just culturally pushed?
Like putting women back in the kitchen?
Yeah, stuff like that. Or women
Like
as
repealing the
second-class
19th.
citizens, basically.
Or repealing the 19th Amendment?
I love
Yeah.
how
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
like the 10th time he said the kitchen joke and people are still laughing out loud.
I think if we do it, because here's the thing, women are followers, right? They're not really leaders. So if we culturally shame them being sluts or voting or any of that other stuff and say like, hey, you need to get back in the kitchen, education isn't great for you, I think they'd follow that. We don't need to force them to do it because women are followers.
So why do you want to repeal the
luck.
19th?
No,
Yeah.
that's not
Was that-
happening.
Why do you want to repeal the 19th if you think social shame is effective enough?
Actually, that like honestly proves the difference. Like radical feminism proves the difference. The more you tell women you have to have babies, don't go to school, the more women are like, you know what, fuck that. I'm not gonna have babies and I am gonna go to school and I am gonna have a career and I'm not gonna get married, I'm not gonna have children. So the more you tell them, get back in the kitchen and make babies, the more it pushes women away from wanting to do that.
Well, again, in that regard, we really got to make sure you guys can't vote. But yeah, other than that,
Why?
everything else can be
That's the
cultural.
question. That's the question. Why?
Yeah. So no, when it comes to voting, we just don't let them in. They're like, "Oh, I'm here to vote." LOL, and then tell them to go home.
Real quick,
you know what I mean? It's just simple. Like,
I don't want to take away the rights,
That's cute and
except
all,
for
but
the right
like,
to
go
vote.
back
Okay,
home.
that's what I do.
Go
Would you
home,
guys-
back to the kitchen?
Would you
But
guys
yeah,
agree
like,
that women should have to sign up for selective service, same as men?
she already
that
said
or
that.
nobody has to sign
Yeah,
up.
I don't
It's
believe
one
in
or the
draft
other.
at all.
So then, so either remove it completely or women have to do it.
I think equity would be fine there, yeah.
You know, I don't think women should be in cops. I don't think they should be in the military. I don't think they should be doing any of
He
it.
wants to take away women's rights.
Yeah,
No, I
no,
think
women
women
shouldn't
should
do
be cops
anything.
because they shoot
Hold
people.
on.
They get
Yeah.
emotional.
Well, what
they
he
shoot
wants to
you.
say is,
This is
what he
my
wants to say
thing.
is there's
It's not
not
about taking
allowed no
women's
matter
rights.
what.
It's
Did you say
about I
women
am
were
right.
reasonable?
You guys don't need to be in the military. You guys
It's
don't
not
be cops.
philosophy.
Because
It's
here's the
real
reality.
philosophy, guys.
Whenever I see female, I used to work in law enforcement. Let me tell you something. All right.
This is so disrespectful to all the female soldiers out there, all the female firefighters, all the female police women who do a great job and risking their lives every single day. It's so stupid.
You guys are fucking useless when it comes to anything that has to do with enforcement. I'll tell you why. They don't know how to do things tactically. They can barely go ahead and actually subdue a subject. So whenever I had women and I did an operation plan, I put these bitches on the perimeter because they can't effectively get into a fight and they put everyone else in danger. So when it comes to military, law enforcement, anything like that, I think women shouldn't be involved in those professions.
Just
They
have
should be
equal
only,
standards.
There's actually-
only in a
Just have
support
equal
role.
There's actually a very-
Only in a support role.
Myron's
and then I
right.
don't think they sh- and then
Yeah, just have equal standards. If the woman is capable of doing the job and she passes the same tests as the men, then she should be allowed to do the job.
with that said, since they're not in the military, they shouldn't have the right to vote. That should be left to the men. Because here's the other problem too: when you put women in the military, you put them in law enforcement, you effectively weaken the entire force for what? Their feelings, so they can feel equal. Get the fuck
You're
out of
only
here.
as strong as your weakest link. And there was just a female Houston cop that went and pulled a gun on a guy because the guy had cheated on her sister.
Oh yeah.
Women.
Wow, how many guys have pulled guns on men and women because they've been cheated on? Great example, Alex.
And do crimes and that's bad. The issue
I
is
know,
that
but
I'm not
everyone's
saying
a female cop, you know,
again. I'm
You're
not
more
saying
you're more
women
likely
should
to
be
get shot by a
cops.
female cop than a male cop way
Okay,
faster.
okay, hey,
just engage with the idea.
here. Jessica, I don't know how your handwriting shit. Jess, come on down, Jess.
Defnot said red pill content is always separating stuff by gender for no reason. Exactly. I said that at the beginning of the stream, and I'm already just so bored of this. A lot of this is not a male versus female thing. This is an individualistic problem. It might even be a societal problem, but lots of this just comes down to individuality and has very little, if at all, nothing to do with gender.
There you go. That's easier.
What do you got, Myron?
No, I was just gonna say while she waits.
But his answer is he doesn't just want to socially shame. He wants to steal rights.
Anyone that's in the military or a police officer will tell you having female backup sucks.
Then make
But
sure that
to
the
be fair,
standards
guys,
are equal.
to be
Just make
fair,
sure the standards are equal.
I do want to point out the inherent sexism of the show. I did ask Myron to sit there because I said he could beat the shit out of anybody who fucked with him from the audience.
I love you all.
All right, Jess, what do you got for us?
All right. I think you ladies have an idealized view of feminism, and I do believe it will bring down Western society.
All right.
Come on
Come
down.
on, that was great.
Back in the kitchen. Let's go.
Come on, hurry this way.
Now you're letting her out of the kitchen, Myron?
Wow. Let's see
Yeah, he
how-
only likes women that agree with him. Imagine that.
Kitchen-
They can have rights. They can have rights, actually.
Jess,
Just right now.
What do you got for us, Jess?
Rights for now.
All right, let me pull my notes back up.
And speak into the microphone.
I just think it is a collectivist plot for societal division than it is.
What do you mean
Like,
by collectivist?
As in, right now, when you have, I'll just give an example, the feminist movement being tied with transgenderism and all these other sorts of things that is more left-wing and just more collectivist in mindset.
I mean, you can just say those parts of feminism I disagree with. I already said third wave feminism. Not a big fan. Women and men are not the same.
So in a broad sense, feminism as a whole includes a lot of really bad shit.
Sure, of course. There's lots of things
All
in
right,
feminism I
debate's over.
disagree with.
Real quick, but aren't we? Wait, with the trans movement, wouldn't? And I'm not, social sciences, but aren't we almost in fourth wave feminism
We are-
now?
we are in fourth
that's what I'm
wave.
saying. I just read
Yeah.
that. No, we are in fourth
Alex
wave.
knows his feminism.
Guys, come on, I know this. I love ladies. I love my baby. I know.
Let's go.
Hey, I love. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna.
Now, my question was actually for Myron.
Oh shit.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay, so have you considered that you may be surrounding yourself with low-quality women that are skewing your perception of dating? And how would you address the fact that other men buying into this narrow viewpoint of relationships tend to become unhappy and single?
Okay, so I like that you
point.
asked that because a lot of people say that all the time. Myron, you're in Miami, you're around a bunch of bimbos, blah blah blah. So the
Oh, you
reality
see
is,
your show.
Shut up.
yeah. Well, here's the thing. I brought girls on. We actually keep data. We bring girls on that have PhDs, master's degrees, educated with bachelor's degrees, all different types of job fields. And I've still noticed some very interesting similarities, despite education level, cultural background, etc., with the women. So my thing is, unfortunately, almost all women, well, damn near 99% of women are all very hypergamous. And what I tell guys is the reason why they need to rise up and make more money and get in the gym and just be
That's so funny because me and literally so many other fucking girls have dated guys that are dead broke, who are just not worth anything, monetarily, and the women were taking care of them for money, and they didn't break up because of the money thing. They broke up because the relationships were unhealthy, and it's probably because those types of guys just tend to are just like not very good at a lot of the things. They're not very good at keeping a job. They're not very good at keeping a relationship. Like, they just had to get their shit together. So it just goes hand in hand. But plenty of women are willing to give these guys a chance. I know so many women who are willing to give guys who make way less money than them, who are not successful at all, a chance.
The best they can be is because women's standards have went up. And since women's standards have went up, most guys don't qualify. And I think for any guy to be in a relationship where they can like make it last and have their girl be somewhat satisfied, they have to be the best version of themselves, because women are pickier now than ever before, thanks to feminism. So, and not only that, but like women are encouraged to get the best they can. So my thing isn't necessarily that I'm around lower quality women, what you would say. It's just that I'm around a lot of different types of women from different walks of life. And I would argue the hotter the girl, the more hypergamous they're going to be because they can.
I would argue, though, you may be personally trying to find an eclectic bunch, but you're not going to church, right? Are you going to churches to have these debates?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. We bring a lot of girls that are religious too on the podcast. And
you find they're all the same?
No, he does bring a lot.
Four churchgoers?
We brought girls in that are religious too. I mean, religious girls are going to want, they're going to want a guy that's more traditional. So like, the point is this. The guy needs to be a complete package is my argument nowadays. Like, you can't be an average guy nowadays and still be able to, you know, get a girl or get one to truly submit.
Most average guy... This is so stupid. You can't be an average guy and be able to get a girl, is what he just said. Who do you think the majority of married men are? Do you think the majority of married men are these like super successful top earning men, like the 1%? No, that doesn't make sense. The majority of men are average men. The majority of men are middle class men. The majority of men are guys who make 40 to 60K a year that are very average in looks, in finance, in every single way possible. The majority of married people are average people. So I don't know why he keeps putting this idea in men's heads that you can't just be an average guy to find a relationship, because you absolutely can, and that is the norm and the standard.
What was that?
That's evolution.
Of course it is, but what I'm saying now is that like average women no longer want average men.
Historically, 40% of men reproduced, and, of course, and now it's 83.
83% of men now.
The
83% don't reproduce.
Well, no. I'm sorry. As of the younger generation, sure, but historically, throughout thousands and thousands of years,
of course,
the number was around 40.
Yeah.
Modern history, it's around 80. Of course, I understand Gen Z is.
Yeah. And here's the thing too: we had guardrails, right? Before, like, you know, you had the church, you had a social shame, you had stigmas with women behaving and acting in a way to, you know, effectuate their hypergamy. But these guardrails are gone now, so like women can literally do whatever they want.
Well,
when you
part
leave
of
them
the
to own
reason why
devices, they're going to pick the best guy.
Part of the reason why historically men weren't spreading their seed is they were dying in the mines and they were dying in war, because the way that society dealt with what we call like the young male syndrome, which is a real issue of young men that don't have mates, because typically young men don't actually get mates because you guys are immature and have to grow up a little bit. This has always been historically true. This is absolutely true. This is what wars fed, because a major issue in all nation states when they were beginning, you can go back to like the 700s, is the question of the young male issue. Young men are more violent, more aggressive, and stupid. And you guys often have to get shipped off to bad places. Now, I love the Western civilization where we don't do that to young men, because I think that's fucked up.
Yeah, we do.
No, we don't.
Well,
we don't
China,
send men. We are not
women,
killing off men in the numbers that were regulated in history. And I think that that's good.
Okay, sure, but we still have drafts and we still have war.
Sure, but the issue is when you talk about like men aren't
When
spreading
was
their
the
seed in
last
history,
time
it's because
somebody
they
was
were dying.
drafted?
All right, real quick. Do you have one last thing, Jess, before you go? It's been 3 minutes. One last thing you want to say?
I'm a veteran.
I just want to. I want to add to that.
Make one point additionally.
Why are they clapping? I thought, women can't be soldiers. Women can't be in the military. She's just dead weight, apparently. So disrespectful.
Because I was talking about collectivism a moment ago, and I feel like with Myron saying like all men, all women, and just coming at your audience with that narrative, it leaves out the traditional view, kind of like Tim was saying, of I'm 23 and I meet someone and do this, and you grow with that person together. Like I was with my husband while I was going through college.
Yeah, that's great.
So
I mean, but you're an exception to the rule.
Okay, but
No.
Well,
You have a
There's always
selection
an
bias,
exception
Myron.
to the
Your
rule.
23-year-old girls are not going to do that.
No, I'm sorry.
Like,
This is just not true. Like when you look at dating, typically women are going to date people within their economic and
Thank you,
within their
Jess.
economic
Give
and
it
their
up for
age
Jess.
bracket. The reason why your data.
Utsov, real quick.
this almost over?
Utsov Sanduza or Sanduja.
All right, there's
The
like
reason,
20
the
minutes
reason
left.
why
I think I
your
can
show
make
has
it.
such a bad selection bias is because most women don't want to go on to get like bullied by the audience forever. However, if you have an OnlyFans, you absolutely want to go on whatever and your show to promote it. So you just do have a selection bias.
The women who tend to write articles for large publications are single and childless.
Oh, you can see him. Yeah, he's in the background. I share a room with my I share a streaming room with my bunny thumper. He's shedding right now, so he looks like a mess. His like hair is literally, you can see that kind of like line on him. That's where the fur is already grown in on the back, and then on his sides it's like shedding. So he looks like a mangly mess right now.
True.
And so the media that's going out to women at the more affluent level tends to be feminist childless.
I would actually argue most like third wave feminism underserved most women as well. In fact, it only benefited women like myself or maybe Kat who are like more
bad.
All right,
no,
what's up?
just
What do you got for
nuance.
All right, hey Myron, it's me, your favorite. We debated in the next while back. So
He's your favorite.
Yeah, favorite.
Okay.
Damn right.
What's up, man?
Yo, brother. God bless you. Assalamu alaikum. So, I know you're Islamist, allegedly. My question is very straightforward. In the age of AI, does it really matter if it's, a male versus female debate? Because we're all going to get replaced anyway. Wall Street Journal, which is our favorite newspaper, Trump doesn't like them. I don't blame them. They talk about how a lot of our jobs are going to be replaced by these freaking bots. There's a lot of sectors that are just going to be wholesale replaced. We're all fucked. I'm sorry to No, say let me tell you something. You're the biggest threat, you stupid Indian with your DEI bullshit. I'm not worried about some damn AI taking my job. I'm worried about you Asians coming over here and making chicken tikka masala in the damn company microwave and stinking up the whole place like curry. So let me. I don't know how to use a microwave. So let me tell you my favorite friend, who is I love you. Shalom. And God bless you. Peace be with you. And whatever sky god you believe in, I wish all the best
Wait,
to you.
hold on. I got a counterpoint. That AI software company turned to be 700 Indians. I'm not, that's not a joke.
Honestly, I just don't care anymore, guys. You just are all jealous. I
am
jealous.
I'm
terrible at using my computer. I wish I knew how to use it better.
man.
It just goes through me.
I have a question for you.
What's up?
Do you know how much money OpenAI made in this last financial
Too much
year?
money. They
Well,
don't
do you
get
know how
taxed
much?
enough.
Okay, good response. Do you know how much though? I'm just curious.
No, I don't know, ma'am.
Okay, they made 20 million. Do you know how much they spent to afford their data centers and the electricity that's required for them?
A lot of R&D is put in. A lot of money.
28 billion.
Yeah, it's a lot.
They lost a lot of money. So this idea that bots are going to replace us, somewhat. There's always with automation, we see a shrinkage of labor jobs. We saw this with farming and mining when we got tractors and shit like that, right? Which is bad for the.
But how much has Uncle Sam put into OpenAI?
Sam Altman came out and
That's what I
said
wanna
that's
know.
absolutely
Probably
not
a
true.
lot.
This is what ChatGPT 5 is actually. What you have is it's a cheaper version of ChatGPT 4.0.
I'm going to disprove your argument because I ordered Chipotle and they got the order wrong. And DoorDash doesn't have a phone to call. It's a robot. And I called Chipotle on the phone, and a robot answered, and it literally said, there is no one who can answer the phone for you. And
We
I was
want
like,
your preets back and AI out. That's true. That's
AI
true.
out of there, man.
Yeah.
All right, sit down.
I hate that.
We love you, though. God bless.
So
I love
terrible.
Israel. Greatest ally.
I didn't get my fucking food.
Well,
Where's
hi,
my
we love
driver?
you. We love it. Benjamin Netanyahu sent him. All right, Adam Irvin. Is Adam Irvin here? Come on down, Adam Irvin. Get your ass down here. I see him in the back. Come on down. Give it up for Adam Irvin. Give it up for Yusuf. Thank you. We love our Indian brothers and sisters. This guy's
Keep him over there, though.
Yeah, I know.
Keep the deodorant Dodgers back over there.
They made zero.
Adam?
Okay, so
$0.
they're in a deficit.
I just want to say that Jesus Christ is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. I think that everybody has a worldview and that everybody stands on that foundation. And when we all have opinions and so forth, it boils down to that foundation you're standing on. Meaning...
What was that?
Yeah, come on, keep going.
What I'm trying
thought
to
this one
say
through.
is that
Yeah.
to all your points, to every single one of those points.
It all comes down to Jesus, right? Is that what you're saying?
Wait, were you the guy that was shouting the most? You said you were going to come up?
No,
Oh,
I
that was
said
somebody over here.
what
Okay.
What I'm saying is that your foundation that you stand on is where you're going to line up with the way you conduct yourself in the world.
That's not true.
That's true. We've got all these atheists and one Christian. Okay, I'm the only one who's based and believes in Jesus. All of you, sinners.
Doesn't the Bible say that women should be silent and obey their husbands, though?
It does, but it also says men submit yourselves to women in the way that Christ died for the church. So.
Oh wow.
Ruh-roh. It does. Look it up.
Listen, we love Jesus Christ, but no, get down. Sit down.
Come on.
All right. Hey, the guy with the backwards hat. The guy he was here last time. Were you the one shouting? You want to say something for a minute? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know this guy.
I think
He-
T-Bone,
yeah,
give
this
it
is his third-
up.
Yeah,
T-Bone.
T-Bone. T-Bone's a good guy. I like T-Bone. I could.
Great event. So my question, you guys were talking about it earlier about the women in military and such. So Kylie, you were actually saying that you want women in the military for the draft. Myron, you were saying that you kind of don't want women in the military. So Kylie, you say that you want them.
I said they either are part of the selective draft or they're not. It should be equal between men and women when it
So
comes to voting.
if they were supposed to go into the draft, what exactly would you want them to do? Like, would you want them to be a nurse, a mechanic, or would you want them to be on the front lines in like combat roles?
I feel like you think that this is a crazy feminist gotcha. My answer is pretty nuanced. I want aptitude tests, and I want them to be in the spots that they would best serve the military.
Yeah, T-Bone, that's not a good gotcha. Go sit down, dude. That's not.
Nice try, though.
Barry, because
I really had higher expectations.
Yeah, I
Perfect
did.
answer.
Barry from Brooklyn, come on down. We got some people we got to get through. We only got about less than 20 minutes left.
My city sucks, so don't come back. Don't ever come. I'm trying to leave too. It's horrible. Anyways, there are 70 Muslim countries in the world, maybe a little bit more. How do you? This is for the feminists on the side. Do you think that?
Shut up.
Do you think that
those men are going to respect women leaders. Look at the countries like Germany, not a great country. It's a beautiful country, but not great. Look at England.
Germany
like
is not
every
a great
Mohammedan.
country?
So because they're submissive to these Muslim nations, what do you think is the best, do you think that women are going to be respected by these men leaders in Muslim countries?
You know what they're going to respect?
The
F-15. The F-15. That's what they're going to respect. So I'm not super worried about it. The American military is the most predominant thing on the planet, and the reality is that whoever is wearing the American name, they're going to respect because they should.
I think we got to be honest. Come on, like if Kamala tried to negotiate with Saudi Arabia, dude.
I don't know what to tell you.
Who
Who's the
invaded
major?
after she visited? Like, come on, man.
The reality is that
these leaders can say that they don't respect women all they want, but if it's the fucking United States of America's president, it doesn't matter if it's a woman. They can say behind closed doors, it's a woman leader, blah blah blah. They're gonna respect her. I don't know what to tell you. They can fucking pretend all they want.
that like our economic ties are so strong with these countries and the military, like, yeah, they'd probably like behind the scenes be like, man, fuck that bitch. She's a stupid woman. The issue is that it's still America that they have to negotiate with, and they're going to care.
No, not just here. But I'm talking about other countries. There are many countries. There's 207 countries in the world, and a few of them are ran by women. But do you think the men in these Muslim countries are going to respect these women as leaders?
So again,
no, they're
well,
not.
now we have to be. Wait,
it's clearly not.
Okay, so you just want to say no. Okay, well, if you want to have your own conversation on a mic, go for it.
Barry, I would call you up, but you're Jewish, and I don't want Myron to kill you.
I'm an Italian Jew. Are morally bad, and that's all that matters.
True.
It's better to be morally right than factually correct.
True.
All right, go sit down. Supa, come on down. Supa, who is Supa here? Supa Fox? Does anybody know who the hell that is?
Yep, he's on his way.
All right, Supa, come on down.
This is my actual name.
He's a furry.
So cool.
Don't judge.
And I'm sorry that I forgot your name.
Don't worry about it.
Money. The Spartans
That
were
wasn't
right
a
about
joke.
that.
I was talking about Spartans and how they
Yes,
view it.
yes, the Spartans were right about that. It's gay to handle money, but it's
Okay.
not gay to wrestle your bro in Greece.
Oh, you're talking about like
They did that.
I don't know what to tell you. Like Spartans would look at you and snap. What do you even look? Yeah, a Spartan would walk up to you, punch you in the face, and snap you over his back. I don't know what you're being like. Oh, they're gay because they wrestle. I don't know what to tell you. They're the peak of masculinity. Get fucked.
It's called a joke.
Okay.
Bro, in Sparta, the only way for a guy to get a tombstone was to die.
in
And
battle.
the only way a woman could get a tombstone was to die in childbirth.
Yeah.
Otherwise, fuck you.
All great jokes.
All right, well, this isn't Sparta. Go sit down. All right, all right, Edgar.
Hey, Alex, can I come up? Can I just fucking
Yeah,
come
I
up
guess.
here?
Just come up. Yeah,
Let me switch hands because my spirit animal has to
Don't suck.
adjust.
Just come up here, Edgar. Gosh dang it. We only have so much time.
Give it up,
We
guys.
got a
Give it
couple
up.
other names we have to pull. So give it up for Edgar the Puppet.
You think he's
Okay, what do you got for us?
Greetings, bitches. I represent Ask America with Edgar, the number one fascist
This
puppet
is
show in
the
DC.
worst
It is a YouTube channel.
ventriloquist I've ever
Thank you for
seen.
inviting me up here. Please do not pay attention to my spirit animal here. He has nothing important to say. It is all me. Okay, listen. I just want to say the problem is I side with the hotties on the far right side, Kat and Kyla, absolutely 100%. I'm against this Saudi Arabian virgin right here. Absolutely. Sorry, Myron. You know, listen. I believe the problem is not feminism. The problem is the feminization of men. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Men, you have to take ownership of your own problems, and I want 100% tariff on cuck chairs until we figure out what the hell is going on.
Wait, Myron, that's a good point. What do you think about all these men that are cucks in this? That's like a normalizing destiny.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing that's normalized.
Look, I like Destiny, but
I
you
mean,
know,
but he's a
I get along
cuck.
with him. Yeah.
I know, but he sucks.
Yeah, he does.
Okay. Does sucking dick as a man make you a cuck? Does nobody know what a cuck is?
It's not
Acres
like,
of Myron.
he does girls and shares and guys, so he's like
His own face if given the opportunity, Myron.
and his own son hates him and thinks he's a retard, but I know he's a
We-
retard.
I feel like Alex needs to talk to
You
Destiny.
don't like Destiny. Weak men.
No,
What's
I like him. I think he's awesome.
Wait.
His son hates him.
Sure.
He's,
Wait, Myron,
Yeah, well,
Myron,
what were you
can we
gonna say?
talk about the great uncucking of Alex Stein, who up to a few months ago, until he decided to lose weight, was a complete grotty unfuckable, who no one
That's
around
not true. I got
yes,
more
you,
than that
yes.
puppet ever
No,
got.
no, no. You abusive bitch.
I am.
No, no one would even get
I
near
lost
you.
weight, but I was fucking when I was fat. I just want that known.
You gave up bread and sugar. You gave
I
up
just
bread and
fuck
sugar.
better now.
No, you gave up
Not
40
100%.
pounds. You used to be a fat, disgusting fuck, and I'm so proud of you, man.
Thank you.
I
Thank
love
you.
you.
It actually feels good
You're
hearing
the
it from
only
a puppet. I love
Alex
you
Stein
too.
is the only man who can put his hand in my puppet hole with consent.
And it's not
Okay,
gay.
let me. I want to address this. I want to say, there are. I'm sick of. Who was it? Was it Carl Benjamin who said all these guys online complain about women? Stop acting like fucking women. Like the point he's making is that they go online and say, oh, women do this, women do that. It's like, stop fucking complaining. You're a man. Okay, go carve yourself out of stone, get shoved in the mud, and crawl until you make something of yourself, and stop bitching about everybody else.
All right, and Angelina Belcamino, come on
It's him
down.
done, too.
She'll kick
It's
you
all
off. Come on
done.
down.
They're all
Come on
done.
down.
I love her.
What who got? Yeah, no, you can say something. No, no.
right, I'm getting hungry. Can we
No
get this
kids.
over with?
I believe I'm the perfect person to bridge this divide because I'm ostensibly.
Come on.
Wait,
Come to
I'm
the stage.
ostensibly male, but I never feel so alive as when a man is inside me. So,
Well, congratulations.
thank you. I'll be here all week.
I'm so glad
Ask
conservatives
America
saved
Day here,
comedy.
I get the puppet joke. A man is inside the puppet to make him alive. Oh. Skip,
Well, I'm
skip.
sitting next to Myron, so I want to say the world is healing. I have a question for you, Tim. I wanted to
right.
know if a woman was working like you were dealing with at the casino last night, if your issue would have been resolved.
If a woman was working?
Yeah, like
What do you mean?
That you were going to with the problem you were having.
It
last
was
night with
both
women.
men and women who told me to go fuck myself.
Okay, so no one
Yeah.
helped you.
I feel like
No,
men
but
are
they-
better managers than women. At like a casino or something. Like casino.
Why can we just make these fucking broad, overgeneralized statements for no reason? I feel like men are better managers than women, like in a casino situation. Like, okay.
Employees are usually better as men, to be honest.
Why?
I don't know, because it's money, it's more masculine. There are female gamblers. but like most pit
I
bosses
think
are
that
men.
they sucked equally in different ways. And this is actually more of a robot question. Because I'm not going to get into full details of what happened, but basically a robot stole money from me. And it was, and everybody looked, bro, it was a room full of managers with their thumbs up their asses being like, there's nothing we can do because the robot said so. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? So both men and women equally had their thumbs up their asses.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
curious. I also wanted to push back on something that Myron said about.
Please, because let's talk about something interesting, not Tim's gambling addiction. Let's talk about.
hey,
Come on, sorry, Tim.
Just about women not knowing what they want. I wanted to push back on that and say I do know what I want, and it's not that.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Like, I don't want to hear that I'm stupid and weak and things like. I'm having a hard time understanding how you're so good at empathy when
Yeah, women don't tend to like the truth, which is fine. No big deal. I'll just continue to be toxically masculine, and women love that. So.
Well, I got a question. Like, real quick.
Yeah.
What-
Actually, but women love guys that can tell them that they're dumb and
Well, hold
shut
on.
up and to
Oh, yeah.
be
Women
assertive.
But
love
here's
that.
another question.
Yeah.
What percent of women actually prefer to be submissive and dominated by men who are aggressive with them? That's an honest question.
I mean, it's not me. I don't know the statistics on that. I don't know.
Women are more subby-wubby than they are, but the issue is like being a sub is not the same thing as being like abused and berated.
I don't
Like,
know,
these
Bernie-
are not the same thing.
Bernie Sanders wrote about that, how women like to go home and fantasize about being raped.
They do, right? Like, and in the same way that like men like to fantasize about like fucking like magical like troll girls. Like, yes, we all fantasize about weird, stupid shit, right? The issue is that like in the case of like my marriage, okay, yeah, my husband is my leader and I respect him, but part of why
I don't understand this idea about how you can like fantasize about being raped. I feel like that's an oxymoron. You're fantasizing about being dominated by somebody. Like I just hate using this like rape fantasy term because it's such an oxymoron to me, but that's me personally.
I feel that way towards Nick is because he respects me, he cares about
I
me.
think it's
When we
really
disagree
gross.
and it comes to like who's going to be right, I know that like 9 times out of 10 he like has my best interest in mind. It's not just because he's like this male superior. And I feel like a lot of these men be like, yeah, men do need to
No,
toughen
he is
up.
superior.
But then you're also
because
like
you're deferring to his authority. See, women don't want to acknowledge the fact that
You can
they
ask
want
him.
a guy that can tell them what to do and can make the decision. Women want to sit there and be like, oh, well, we're equal. But in reality, when push comes to shove, they want to be able to
Well,
follow
the
your
issue,
lead. That's
Myron,
why I don't
is
listen
that
to women and what
I'm
they
able
gotta
to
say.
look at
They
the
don't know what
world
they're talking about.
and recognize that
don't.
some people are good at some things and other people are good at other things. And both of these people have
Women
moral
suck
value.
at everything that matters.
That's not
They
true.
suck at
Have a
everything that
fucking
matters.
baby.
They-
Good luck.
That's the only thing you can do. You still
She
need a man
shouldn't
for
have said
that.
that.
Oh,
She
like
shouldn't have
raising a
said
child
that.
is the most
No,
important thing
don't
for
say
society.
that.
Haven't we been talking about declining birth rates and how important child
Yeah, so-
rearing is? And now all of a sudden it's be like, oh, they are
Yeah,
good
but
for
you're
us.
gonna lose that.
Then
Like,
buy
in
one.
anything where both men and women can compete and both of them can actually do it, men are better.
I would argue this, like
I want
for
some
my
fucking
marriage, it's-
taquitos.
I'm basically in charge of externalities. He's in charge of internality, like internal issues. So when it comes to what she needs for the baby, what she needs for the house, where we're going on vacation, who we're seeing for holidays, I just say, you know what?
Women are not just good at baby things. Women are good at all types of different things. And I can't generalize it. Because guess what? We're individuals. And as a feminist, that's all I want is to be recognized as an individual, respected as an equal. Okay? You're stronger than me. You're faster than me. Cool. I understand that. I can see that. I just want to be respected as an intellectual equal.
I have no idea. That's up to you. But when it comes to calling lawyers, dealing with bullshit,
If we had everybody who was like, if all the people in society were only good at the same thing, society wouldn't function. This is just such a stupid, fucking childish, like, argument that keeps happening over and over and over again because they get so much views for this shit. Because of the hate watchers like me, the people it triggers like me. I mean, it doesn't trigger me anymore because I've just heard it so many times. I'm just bored of it now. But and then all the fucking young guys who were like, yeah, base, fuck women, blah blah blah. Like it sells. It sells really well. So they just keep saying, how many kitchen jokes did Myron make? Fucking at least 10, and the audience was still laughing out loud at them.
Getting shit done. I'm gonna go and fight. You know, I put this. I'm gonna fight the grizzly bear if it shows up with my bare hands, and then die. You save the baby.
Yeah, you delegate authorities, but that's a part of being a man and being a leader. That's why, like, when a woman's in a leadership role, it's a problem for the relationship. It's probably not going to last. Women want a guy who's going to be assertive, dominant, taller, stronger, everything. They try to sit there and say, I'm equal to you, but they're really not. They're inferior, and they want to feel inferior.
I disagree, though. Like, I've been in a lot of relationships where we handle the conflicts.
Okay,
like,
where are those guys now?
Well, that's it.
That's his response to everything. Oh, you think we broke up because we handled conflicts together? Wow, like, that's so dumb. This happened to me. I was on a panel, and I was like, I've dated guys who were like 5'6", and they were like, where are they now? And I'm like, you think I dated them for a year and a half to break up with them for their height? Like, are you retarded? Just think for 2 fucking seconds, please.
That's a problem with them.
Hold on.
That's a problem with them, not a problem with me.
The nuanced answer, the real answer is that probably 80% of people do prefer a gender traditional relationship, and that's totally fine. I have no issue with people wanting gender traditional relationships. The problem with your worldview is there's no space for anything else, and the reality is that non-gender traditional relationships just do exist and can flourish.
No, because I understand that women can't make their own decisions, so I have to do it for them. So you'll sit there and say, 80% is actually higher than that, because the reality is women are attracted to men that are better than them. That's how it is.
Now you have to fight with all of science and data.
My bad for telling you guys how you want to be treated, which is inferior. That's what it is.
How come whenever there's a polycule, the woman's always like fat, and the guys are all weird looking?
I've seen a lot of polycules that are like 1 man, 2 women, and everyone's kind of hot. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know, the ones we see on
The only polycule I've seen was 1 woman, 2 guys, and they were all hot. They were all in shape and all hot.
online, it's always like some big fat chick with 3 fat guys.
Yeah, it turns out not everything you see online is real.
I would also say that there's a huge difference. There's a huge difference between being assertive and being a leader, and just calling women stupid and hoes over and over again. If anything, that's weak, and it's really kind of boring.
Yeah.
Well, and this is, I'm not even trying to argue.
It's like
Myron's
all I heard was who's that chick with the YouTube channel where all she does say women suck?
That's boring too.
Yeah, but Kat, you
Pearl,
know,
that's right.
there is something kind of like inherently, even from a young age, when guys would bully girls, it meant they liked them. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like,
so you're saying Myron likes me?
Yeah, you started with me
Honestly,
first, so I think it's the other way around.
I know that sounds weird. It sounds
She's gonna attack me
counterproductive, but that's kind of like a thing. So I think Myron likes women, but it's like this weird thing that if you attack
No,
them,
he
that
doesn't.
makes
He
them,
literally
makes
talks
them-
about not liking women.
Kind of. It is hard, and because this is another thing. Well, one thing I will tell you guys: never cry in front of your girlfriend. You're a if you do that. You know, like there's certain things.
They'll sit there and say, you could be vulnerable in front of me, and then she'll use it against you a year later.
Don't cry. There's only one time.
Get out of those
There's only
relationships.
one time a man is allowed to cry.
Family death.
In front of a woman is when your dog dies.
Yeah, dog
That's it.
dying.
Nothing else.
Yeah. If your dog dies, you can cry, but go cry in the bathroom. All right, wait, stay up here, Angela. But Tiani, is that Tiani? Is Tiani here? Maybe we can get in one more female before the end of the night. Give it up for Tiani. Come on down. I hope you got something good. You got 1 minute. You got the bold lib, Myron Gaines, Kat Timpf, and NotSoEurodite. What do you got for us?
Okay, so if we as a society want to get back to traditional values and a strong nuclear family, how are we supposed to do that when we lack strong male role models in the public eye, especially when we've got public figures with strong influence amongst young men and boys who are constantly like criticizing 304s, but like bragging about.
What do you mean? You got Andrew Tate?
No, but we've also got Myron Gaines.
Let's see what Myron has to say. What do you got, Myron?
Well, I think what we tell guys, if you watch the content, we talk a lot about self-improvement, going in the gym, understanding that, you got to be the best version of yourself, and then,
10 minutes.
obviously pursue the women after you become that complete package, because nowadays, with the way hypergamy is, women don't want average men anymore. So we're very vocal about that. I think people only look at the content of me debating, women or whatever. They don't look at all the self-improvement content I put out on, improving your credit, real estate investing, getting in the gym, and training.
I've seen a lot of that, and I agree with you on a lot of things. But
yes, and how Jews control everything.
I don't agree with you like having multiple women, but like because I know that you believe in like a strong father figure and traditional values, but you just don't practice that. So
I always cry during the end of
Well, here's the thing. No. Here's the thing.
What
What I teach guys is you need to get in a position where you choose what you want to do. If you want to go.
The movie I watched recently was Jurassic Park or Jurassic World, the third one, World Dominion, and every time I cry at the scene when Chris Pratt gives the raptor Blue her baby back, and then Blue like runs off, and then Blue turns around and like looks at Chris Pratt and gives like a little head bob, and oh my god, it makes me cry every fucking time.
Go and have 10 girlfriends, you can. If you want to go ahead and be a monogamous guy and live a certain lifestyle, you can do that too. But the point is that guy needs to get to a position where he can make that choice.
If you had a daughter, would you be okay with that?
I mean, if I had a daughter, I'd have. I mean,
would you be okay with her being with a man that has 10 different women?
yes.
to God.
And I'll tell you why, because that's reality, right? Because like this is the ugly part that women don't like to understand.
Not
you
every man.
Bro, you can have a
Myron will
higher
become
status
the
guy.
Punisher
Please never
if
have
that
a
happens.
daughter.
Well, here's the thing.
Please never
I
have
have to be honest
children.
with her. Like the
Myron.
reality is that women think that they're gonna have a higher status guy all to themselves. It just doesn't work that way most of the time.
That's not what women are. Women are dating in their socioeconomic status, in their age. Like women are just dating people in their social space. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. You guys are wrong. Just go look up the data. The reality is that women are dating people in their social sphere. This is why warm approaches are good and Tinder is AIDS. You shouldn't go on Tinder, by the way. But when you talk about who you're marrying, it's people in your social space with similar values and similar social.
See, this is why you never listen to women's dating. No one cares. The reality is
science
women
is
have
really
perfect-
spooky.
Yeah,
No,
nobody cares about the
because here's the
truth.
thing. A study's not going to replicate this.
Because
The
you
reality
won't
is
get
women have
views
access to higher
anymore.
status guys via the internet, via Instagram, etc. So you
Studies
might meet a girl.
can
right?
replicate this. Literally walk me through the process of how a scientific study can't capture which socioeconomic status people are marrying within.
Again,
Literally tell me the science that
marrying
can't do it.
within and then having access to and dating, etc., are two different things. So what I'm trying to explain here is that
What?
regular women have access to above average men. A girl, a lot of the times, especially if she's attractive to some degree, has probably
Yes.
dated an NBA player or met with a celebrity or whatever. Women
What
have
percentage of
way
women do
more
you think have
access.
met or
dated
Women
an
have way
NBA
more sexual
player.
access to men than men have
he's
to
like-
women. So what I'm saying
he
is that
was Andrew Tate's buddy
that shapes the way they
for a
view men.
while,
That
the-
shapes how
the
they what they
Southern
think they deserve.
construction worker
That shapes
guy,
their worldview
or
a lot of the times.
he
If a
was
girl
like
dates
a-
an NBA player, she's gonna think,
he had a
damn,
stone
I qualify for this
masonry
level of guy.
company or
Average men are no
some shit
longer
like
worth
that.
it because women have a perpetual mindset of
definitely
the
in
grass
on
is
the
greener
sex
on the other
trafficking.
side. So that's what I'm trying to say.
I don't know if you guys can hear me. He was like Andrew Tate's friend, and he definitely was in on the sex trafficking. Like, I don't know. That's allegedly my opinion. I feel like he was always there with like the war room shit. Yeah, none of these guys. And it's funny because Justin Waller's story, he like, I heard him explain why he was like that. Apparently, like, he had a girlfriend, and I don't know if she cheated on him or she just left him, because I think she left him, and after that he was like, I'm just gonna live with my guy friend, Sterling, the guy who used to be like in the porn industry too, Sterling something. He used to go on like Pearl Show and stuff like that, and they lived together, and he was like, I'm never gonna live with another girl. And it's just like, Andrew Tate also had a story where like a girl broke his heart, and then they just end up like this. It's like they don't have the emotional maturity to get over a breakup that hurt them so much, so now they're like eternally stuck in this misogynistic state, which is the same with radical feminists. Radical feminists get hurt by men, and they don't have the emotional maturity to move on and grow up from it, and they just live their whole lives hating men. So it really just is about maturity.
So my thing is, I tell guys, be the grass on the other side that's greener. Be the more attractive guy, because it's going to be extremely competitive for you. And then I want the guy to be able to decide what he wants to do. You want to be monogamous in a Christian relationship? Fantastic. Go.
It's like such a cliche to say who hurt you, but it's true. It's legit, especially in this case.
Do it. You want to go ahead and have a bunch of girls? Go do it. My thing is, I want men to have the choice, not women, because women have the choice. They ruin your fucking life.
We got a couple people up.
Gianni, thank you so much. Now, one of our last people, Noah Sanders, come on down. Hopefully we can get through. Come on down, Noah.
Thank you all for coming out here tonight. I'm up here from Atlanta, so I'm very glad I could make it up.
Thank you, Noah, for coming down.
With second wave feminism, women were encouraged to get jobs and have careers, and that's a great thing that they have that option. But due to that, the workforce was doubled overnight. That caused more workers competing for jobs, driving down overall wages. That led to the standard of dual income households, making it nearly impossible for a sole breadwinner to own a home or raise a family.
I looked this up, and I found opposing data. I only looked it up once, granted, so I would have to look into it again. But when I did the research like a year or two ago, I didn't find that women entering the workforce did drive down wages. But I really haven't looked into it that much, so I don't know. Either way, like, I don't know.
Do y'all believe that coupled with modern feminism not promoting long-term relationships or marriages,
like,
that it
either
has
way, I
ultimately
would
led
never go
to
back,
the economic
right?
struggles that we as young people are facing today?
Yes. No, absolutely not. And I'm so glad you brought up the economy. All right. Not only is it inevitable that women are going to enter the workforce, it was necessary because you have to compete as an economy at a global market. And it's very, very important that your GDP is globally competitive. If everyone else lets women enter into the workforce, which inevitably is going to happen if you're globally competing, increasing your labor product by 50% is an explosion when it comes to economic momentum, things like productivity. The reality is that women being in the workforce is a major part of what has led to the American predominance of the economy. It's just going to be a good thing.
Planes crashing.
It's not at the cost of your children. Your children have a higher quality of life than they've ever had. Why are you blaming women when you should be mad at... Just come up.
We can't hear you. Go grab the mic. If you have a point... Wait, do you have a point? Get up and go on the mic real quick. Aggressive. Thank you, Noah. We love
men.
Great point.
We already said we don't like men.
All right, get on the mic.
I'm here because my husband, Eric McCartney, watches y'all show. I yell at him like, we need a date night, and he watches y'all shit. This is our fucking date night.
Yeah, the man's making the decisions, obviously.
Dead ass. I'm a supportive woman, okay? We've raised 9 children between us. Yours, mine, ours, and theirs. 3 biological, okay? I understand what y'all saying. Yes, women, we deserve a right to go to work. We own our house because I worked hard enough to buy it myself, but we cannot be legally married because America no longer supports family fucking households.
Wait, so you
if you're married to your husband,
Why
guess
can't you
what?
be married?
You get less benefits.
Why can't
Wait,
you
so
be married?
you're committing social
I
services
worked my
fraud?
ass off. My parents were crackheads and
You're
heroin
gonna go to
addicts.
jail, ma'am.
I was in foster care.
Millions of people
I
watch
worked
this
my
podcast.
ass off to get my house. I bought my house in my name, but guess what? My husband pays for it. Once I worked hard enough, I
mortgage
stepped
fraud
in,
is a
and now I'm
crime,
allowed to
and we
take
don't
care
need
of
to.
my kids.
I still, why can't
You know
you be
what I
married?
mean?
I don't know. I have no idea what
The
you mean.
system of welfare benefits
I
favor
know you
single
don't,
women.
because you're like a little cutesy bitch that's probably cat.
I don't know why you're so
understand
mad.
that, but I'm from
Yo,
Baltimore,
why is
bitch.
she yelling?
I came from the bottom, and I worked my way up.
That's awesome.
Give it up for her. All right, go sit down.
What true feminism is you find a man that you know.
Yeah, true. You know what true feminism is? It's calling random other women little tiny bitches for no reason because my mom was a crackhead and I bought my own house and my husband, who I'm not married to because I can't get my benefits. Yeah, that's what feminism is. Like, what the... Maybe she's on crack too? Like...
Okay, can I ask
We'll
you a
support
question?
you. You work hard enough to hold your own
Can
shit
I
down,
ask you
and
a
they're
question?
like, "Oh yes, bitch, I
Okay.
got you."
Yeah, NotSoEurodite
That's
doesn't
what
work
it boils
out.
down to.
Why is a
Like, I'm
competitive
sorry if you
GDP
don't get
important?
that.
Okay. Why is a competitive GDP important for a country?
Huh?
Why is a competitive GDP important for a
She
country?
doesn't know what that means.
This bitch is drunk.
You
She didn't know
wanna
shit
talk
about
all that
GDP.
shit, but that ain't real reality of America, honey. I'm an American.
I was going to ask the same question.
Let's see the green
I
card.
on your little thing.
I
But
love
I'm
that
talking about
argument.
every
Graph go up.
American that works every
It's not the
fucking
argument.
day.
All right, thank you so
Wrap it
much.
up.
It's
Thank you.
competitive.
Added a lot.
Graph go up.
Why?
Great.
I'll ask you, Tim, if you're saying it's not graph go up. I'm not saying just have a bigger GDP. I'm saying competitive. A competitive GDP. Why does that matter?
When you have no kids, it doesn't.
Why does it matter for a nation state to have a competitive GDP?
If you have no kids, it doesn't.
It
That's
absolutely
not
does.
answering
no
the
kids.
question.
Yes, it does.
Wait,
Scale of the population
okay,
of
real quick,
America.
guys. We're almost done.
Point
Taylor
the
the
third
Rins. We wanted our one
Right.
transgender representative because we need that.
All right, Assassin's
before we
Creed,
end
you got
the
1
show.
minute.
Taylor Rins, are you here? Is Taylor Rins X here? Oh yeah, there you go. God, that mask. You look so fucking scary.
First off, let me say I'm not wearing a spicy vest. The American left has been getting pretty cozy with Muslim and Islam culture, and that seems to be in direct conflict with their pet issues of feminism and
That's
LGBT.
the far left.
As a center-right-leaning transsexual
Ugh.
myself, I am concerned about the mainstreaming of Islam and eventually Sharia law in this country. And to tie it back into today's theme, I would imagine feminists would have similar feelings.
I thought
How
you
does
got-
conflict work
I
itself
thought
out?
they want
I
that
feel that the
shit.
left is just using feminism and LGBT as disposable weapons, useful only when they align with their political goals. What do you all think?
Go sit down, Taylor. Don't land on your balls when you do that.
Literally nobody here wants Sharia law. Literally, they've all, well, maybe Myron, but it's such a dumb question.
I think that is a really good point about how modern feminism is very
Sorry,
deferential
I'm like getting very impatient with this right now.
to Islam, which is weird.
I agree. I'm extremely anti-Muslim. I think that Islam is extremely oppressive to women, and I'm not a fan of it. And I actually agree. I think it's an area that's third wave neglected. Fourth wave is actually a lot more attentive to it.
Yeah, feminism is mostly bad. We agree.
Is what?
What?
I just didn't hear you. All right.
Well, guys, give it up for yourselves. Thank you guys for being here this evening.
Okay, thank God it's over. Wow. See, usually I pre-watch some of these videos, at least a little bit of them, so I understand if I actually want to react to them. And this one, since it came out yesterday, I was like, let's give a genuine reaction, but I want to fucking right now. And I want some taquitos, so I'm gonna go fucking eat. Thank you guys who came in and hung out with me during that. That was fun, at least, to actually have some people in the chat who agreed with me, because usually it's just a bunch of people in my chat telling me I'm gonna burn in hell for eternity. So yeah, please like the video and all that jazz, and have a great night.